Welcome to the Chevy pregame show on Fox.
In Game 2, the Yankees walked off with a dramatic extra inning win in the cold and rain. Now, the ALCS shifts under the sunny skies of Southern California. And with their backs to the wall, the Angels look to overcome an 0-2 deficit.
The ski caps and umbrellas have been replaced by sunblock and thunder sticks. Ideal conditions, but not exactly the ideal situation for the Halos, who are down 0-2 to the Yankees in the ALCS. Torrey and Vlad are glad to be back out west. In fact, Hunter has not lost his sense of humor, saying it's good to be back in Cali so I can work on my tan. Well, these guys don't have to work on much. Both Jeter and A-Rod went deep on Saturday. Rodriguez has homers in 3 of the 5 playoff games so far. Hi.
Welcome back to the Chevy pregame show on Fox. And welcome to Anaheim, California, and to Game 3 of the American League Championship Series, where they're packed in and making noise. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Joe Buck. Tim McCarver is coming right up. It's so nice to be in a place where we don't have to even think about the weather. That's a given. It's gorgeous here right now. And for the Yankees, up 2-0 over the Angels, so far so good. In my opinion, Jared Weaver getting the start for the Angels today has to get off to a great beginning. And in my opinion, the Angels need to get on the board first to try to get some of the momentum back. Why, Tim McCarver? Well, to this point in the series, the way the Angels got to the postseason, great defense, timely hitting, stealing bases, they haven't played that way so far in the ALCS.
Well, one of the reasons that they haven't played that well, the Yankees have not allowed them to play well. Let's look at a graphic that illustrates that point. The Angels leading the major leagues in those 3 top categories, and look how futile they've been during the first 2 games of the ALCS. They have 1 stolen base and the fewest errors in team history, and they've committed 5. I think being home, they're going to play better today.
This crowd is loud behind us. In the pitching matchup today, Jared Weaver's been so good at home. He pitches for the Angels, Andy Pettitte, and his 15 career postseason victories on the mound for New York. We look ahead to Game 3 as we look back to Game 2.
Okay, so Saturday night's game had it all. Here's the end, but I think we should start from the beginning, right? Fans flooded through the gates, despite the weather report. Jeter gave the Yanks a 2-0 lead. Burnett pitched well, but got a little wild. Saunders started shaky, but then got stingy. Jabba fired up. Vlad fed up. It got cold and rainy. Not that these guys felt it. Figgins put the Angels on top, but then A-Rod had just enough pop. Finally, over 5 hours from first pitch, Hairston slid home safe. The Angels slide out west, down 2-0. Game 3 from Anaheim is coming up next.
Today's Game Fox is sponsored by MasterCard, by Sprint, the Now Network, by Holiday Inn, official partner of Major League Baseball road trips, and by Gatorade. It's the heart, hustle, and soul of the game. That's G.
Thunder sticks. They're out, banging together. Beautiful day for this early afternoon start out west. Take a look at the starting lineup for the Yankees, brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bond. Derek Jeter first up. Johnny Damon bats second. He's in left. Mark Teixeira hits third. A-Rod, one of the heroes, Game 2. He cleans up. Hideki Matsui, the DH. Jorge Posada, Robinson Cano, Nick Swisher, and Melky Cabrera. No surprises in the lineup for Joe Girardi. And no surprise that when given the chance, manager Mike Scioscia would tap Jared Weaver on the shoulder and say, you get a home start. Why? Because he has been outstanding here at home this season.
So it made all the sense in the world for Joe Saunders to start game 2 and Jared Weaver starting game 3. 10-3 at home, a 2.80. That includes the one game against the Red Sox, that division series opener, and he has been lethal against right-handers. He's held them to a 2.01 average this year.
As we prepare for baseball, you can reach for the perfect combination of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. But there's more business to be done before pitch number 1, and the keys to the game are brought to you by Ninja Assassin in theaters everywhere Wednesday, November 25th.
Why that first point by the Yankees to keep pitching? Well, the Yankees have had 5 starts this postseason. They have had 6 innings out of every starter, giving up no fewer than 3, make that 2 earned runs. And for the Angels, it's pretty obvious.
The initials of Nick Adenhart in the back of the mound for Jared Weaver. On the outfield wall here at Angel Stadium, a young teammate, just 22 years old, tragically killed after making a start April 8th here at home. Jared Weaver and Nick Adenhart were going to be roommates in the early part of the season. So with his jersey hanging in the dugout and thoughts about him back here at home, Jared Weaver falls behind Jeter 2-0. You mentioned that average, Tim. 201 right-handers have hit against Jared Weaver. He's got a funky delivery, comes across his body, and tough for right-handers to pick up.
Yeah, that 201 average, the best in the major leagues against right-handers.
That is rocketed into left field, and how about this start for New York? 1-0 Yankees on a blast by Derek Jeter on a 2-0 pitch. So much for statistics.
Let's take a look at the sequence. Jared Weaver overamped on the first 2 pitches outside. The second one outside. Jeter looking for the third one. Bang.
And now Johnny Damon takes a strike. So much for the Angels jumping out in front early. Third career leadoff home run in the postseason for Derek Jeter, and that's the way the Yankees start this set here in Anaheim. Jeter with 18 home runs during the regular season. That's his 2nd of this ALCS and 3rd of the postseason. Down goes Johnny Damon out in front of that pitch. Weaver fooled him 1 out.
Boy, 2 wicked curveballs, and Weaver gets Damon. Nasty. That's why they call that pitch 12-6.
Here's Teixeira, who they boo here in Anaheim. He finished the season last year with the Angels, being traded by the Atlanta Braves, and hit very well. Hit .358 with the LA Angels at the end of last year. Had a good divisional series against Boston. One of the few Angel hitters who came through. Only had 1 RBI, but a good average. And he really doesn't look all that comfortable at the plate so far this postseason. The curveball again from Weaver in the count 1-2.
Yeah, you brought it up. Mark Teixeira booed in every town in which he didn't sign. Boston didn't sign with the Red Sox. He's booed in Boston, booed here in Anaheim, and Baltimore.
And Baltimore.
Right.
From Maryland. Here's a little pop-up into left center field. Slicing to Rivera. Torrey Hunter calls off Rivera, 2 out. It's like Kelly Leak. Bad News Bears cutting in front of Juan Rivera in left center field. Here's the defense for the Angels. Rivera, Hunter, and Abreu in the outfield left to right. Figgins, Ibar, Kendrick, Morales. And the catcher is Napoli, the better hitting catcher of the tandem of Napoli and Mathis. Here's A-Rod. 68 career home runs now against the Angels. Number 68 was especially crushing to LA. That 11th inning leadoff shot against Fuentes on Saturday night. Hard hit, but foul.
Tyler Kepner of the New York Times with a great line today said Alex Rodriguez is hitting postseason home runs with freakish regularity. 3 home runs in 5 games, 2 to right, 1 to right center.
And all from the 7th inning on. They've been dramatic. That'll stay in the park. That's Hunter. He's hogging everything out there. Yankees are loose. Why not? Up 2-0, leading here in game 3. Having fun. And leading 1-0 after a half.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By Fidelity Investments. Turn here. By X. Relearn baseball without cigarettes. Relearn life without cigarettes. And by Warner Brothers Pictures' Ninja Assassin. In theaters everywhere Wednesday, November 25th.
1-0 Yankees in the starting lineup for the Angels. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Figgins leads it off. Finally has a hit. Abreu bats second. Then Hunter, Vlad Guerrero, Juan Rivera, Kendry Morales, Howie Kendrick, Mike Napoli, and Eric Ibar. No changes to this lineup for the most part. The typical starting group against the lefty. And the lefty today for the Yankees, 14-game winner during the regular season, is Andy Pettitte. Yankees 5-0 this postseason and a staff ERA of 1.59. That's low for ball 1 to Figgins, who's 1 for 19 this postseason.
That's how you win 5 games in a row in the postseason. Good starting pitching and great in the bullpen.
There's a strike from Pettitte, who was so good in game 3 of the division series at Minnesota. A 4-1 winner. Went 6 1/3, 1 run, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts and 1 walk. In command from the beginning. Left side, good start for the Angels. Figgins, who was on base 4 times in game number 2, starts game 3 with a base hit. Here's a scouting report on Andy Pettitte.
Andy Pettitte, the dean of the cut fastball. That was a breaking ball, however, that Figgins hit, and that is almost a season of postseason experience for Pettitte, and obviously one of the great moves in the last 50 years.
One of the equalizers for the Yankees against this very good Angels team with regard to stolen bases. Number 3 in baseball. They have 1 stolen base this ALCS. And as we've mentioned before, no team was caught more this season trying to steal a base than the Angels, so they're not scared. Ball 1 to Abreu, who's hitless, 0 for 9 in this ALCS. That has been debilitating to this lineup. He's been smiling throughout. There's that look over at first, and Figgins gets back. Sean stole 42. That was tied for the 3rd best total in the American League, but he was caught 17 times, the most in the AL. Figgins will get a lot of attention with Abreu at the plate.
Almost every good left-hander's move is a balk move. It's very, very close to being a balk. When a left-hander moves that right foot behind the left leg, he's committed to go home. And Pettitte has it down to where it's a real gray area. First base umpires can't tell.
His reputation is so good And any umpire, in this case it's Jerry Lane over there, is aware of the prowess of Andy Pettitte in picking off runners at first base. So he's probably going to get away with a little more than some rookie left-hander coming up.
Yeah, the first base umpire who normally would call the balk against a left-hander is going to give Pettitte the edge and not the base runner.
Another one. So 4 straight over to first base. Count still of 1-0 on Abreu. And a pop-up. That'll make Bobby Abreu 0 for 10. A foul ball when it came down, 1 on, 1 out. Abreu just keeps his bat in his hand. Here's the Yankee defense. Damon in left, Guerrero in center, Nick Swisher in right. A-Rod with his 2 Gold Gloves. They came as a shortstop in his days with the Rangers. Jeter, Cano, Teixeira, Jorge Posada catching Andy Pettitte. Pettitte, who was a 22nd round pick by the Yankees in 1990, came up in 1995. Was 12-9, and then in '96, in his second year in the big leagues, was 21-8. Led the league in wins. Here's Hunter and a pretty good swing and a foul straight back. He was 2-1. Pettitte was that postseason in '96. He has the 3rd most wins for a pitcher in franchise history for the Yankees, behind Whitey Ford and Red Ruffing. He had a 3-year stop in Houston, and he's back where he belongs in a Yankee uniform. 0-1 the count, 1 on, 1 out. And a different look. That pickoff attempt over at first. More than Lefty Gomez and fewer than Whitey and Red.
That is the 6th time Pettitte has thrown to first. Not only can you pick a runner off occasionally, but you keep a guy like Sean Figgins closer to first base. On a ground ball to the middle infielder, he can't take out a shortstop or a second baseman with a slide. Have to be cautious.
Figgins leaning, and a ground ball to short. Out at second. And out at first as Teixeira digs it out. Figgins was held close to the bag. Pettitte gets the 6-4-3 double play and has something to say to the home plate umpire Bill Miller on his way back to the dugout. We ask you to join Major League Baseball in helping our returning veterans. Log on to MLB.com or welcomebackveterans.org for more information on how you can make a difference. As the curveball looks like it might be a difference maker for Jared Weaver. That's how he starts Matsui. Strike 1. It's Derek Jeter, who's number 3 all time on the postseason home run list. With his 20th back in the first inning, leading off as New York on top 1-0. Matsui 3 out of 7 in this league championship series, and a 1-1 from Weaver. Fouled back, tried to wait on that breaking ball. Strike 2. Posada will follow, and then Robinson Cano.
Think about Jared Weaver starting against the Red Sox in Game 1 of the LDS. That was 10 days ago. Normally, when a pitcher has that much rest, he can't control his curveball nearly as well as Weaver has so far.
One's in the dirt, and the count's 2-2. CC Sabathia, he is coming upon a start tomorrow with short rest. 3 days rest, and no matter what the Yankees do here in this game, win, lose, or draw, he will get the ball tomorrow. Here's a 2-2. Full count.
I talked to Dave Island, the pitching coach of the Yankees, and he said in his bullpen session yesterday And CC was throwing so hard he could have started yesterday.
3-2. Hideki Matsui is the DH. The Yankees, winners of 103 games during the regular season, have not fared well here at Angel Stadium, having lost 20 of the last 28 these two clubs have played here in Anaheim. But did win the last series they played here, 2-1. That was late September at the end of the regular season.
They lost that first game to Joe Saunders, then won the next two. September 21st, 2nd, and 3rd.
3-2 pitch. Good breaking ball, but it's ripped into right. A lot of the curveball from Jared Weaver, and a ton of break or not. Matsui saw plenty of them and finally caught up to one.
The break was good. The location wasn't. Right around belt tie, and Matsui out in front. But ripping his 5th hit of the LCS.
Now it's Posada. Jorge Posada is catching his 101st game during the postseason. And when you start looking at history, obviously players today have an advantage with more rounds in the playoffs. Prior to 1969, it was win the league, go to the World Series, then just LCS, now division series as well. But as far as games caught, that's the most by a mile in the postseason. He and Girardi were splitting the action behind the plate back in 1996. Now Girardi's his manager, and this is game number 101 catching in a postseason effort for Posada. First pitch of ball from Jared Weaver. Curveball for a strike.
Joe, I was so fortunate to play in an era where if you won the pennant, then you went immediately to the World Series. And I hesitate to think that those great St. Louis Cardinal teams back in the middle 60s, 64, 7, and 8, had we had to play 11 games to win the World Championship, maybe we wouldn't have.
You'd have less jewelry. Potentially. 2 balls and a strike.
And even talking about the Dodgers, who won in 63, 5, and 6. Same thing applies. It's so much tougher now to get to the World Series, and to win a World Series, you have to win 11 games.
There is strike 3 called. Inside part. Now they say 2-2. The crowd reacts as I reacted. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. A home plate umpire, Bill Miller, punched him out. But it was strike 2. Runner at first is Matsui with nobody out. And now the 2-2 is too far inside full count. That's why, and it speaks to the Yankee dominance during his days. It's so impressive that Yogi Berra is number 2 on that all-time list in games caught during the postseason with 63. Number 2.
Yeah, because he played a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 7 every year.
Now the 3-2 is wide, and the first 2 are on for New York. A hit, a walk. You know, Bill Miller is the home plate umpire. He's joined by Jerry Lane at first. Field and Colbreth at second base. Dale Scott is at third. Tim McClellan, the crew chief, is down the left field line, and Laz Diaz, who had that long night, and by our count and estimation, very good night behind the plate in game 2, is taking it easy down the right field line. Here is Cano, and a chance for the Yankees to add to the lead for Andy Pettitte.
How about that at bat by Posada? Falling behind in the count. Coaxes a walk off Weaver. I mean, Posada, one of the great offensive catchers of his or any era.
Breaking ball is low for ball 1. Good numbers for Robinson Cano against Jared Weaver, 6 out of 15. What an opportunity here for the Yankees. They've already quieted down this big crowd, which was making a ton of noise before the start. Jeter made them sit down with a leadoff home run. Cano takes a strike from Jared Weaver. It's one thing for Weaver to be good at home and to be good against right-handed batters, the best in the majors this year with that low opponent's average against of 201. But this is not an easy lineup for any right-hander to deal with. Here's a 1-1. Ball 2, 2-1. They're so balanced and they're so deep, really 1 through 9. I mean, you can throw Melky Cabrera in there as well, who has hit very well against the Angels over his past 13 games. But Swisher's on deck. He's hitting 8th. These Yankees have made Weaver work. He's already thrown 31 pitches, and number 32 fools Cano. It's 2-2. Weaver needs a strikeout or a double play ball.
A change up on a fastball count gets Cano out front. There you can see, we talked about it in game 2. Whenever that ring finger becomes involved, and you can see it from home, it's going to be a changeup. Weaver needs the ground ball. Best way to get it is to throw another changeup.
Slowly hit to short. Ibar flips for 1. That's it. No chance to turn 2, and it's 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Kendrick tried, but that ball just wasn't hit hard enough, and a chance for Swisher now.
There you can see that ring finger involved the changeup. He backed up changeups on the 2-1-2-2 pitch. He gets the ground ball. It's just not hit hard enough for the Angels to turn the double play.
Here's Swisher, who's hit just 2 home runs in 122 career at bats here at Angel Stadium. How many general managers around baseball are watching this game from wherever they are right now, looking at Scott Boras in the background for every at bat, thinking, I've got to look at him even when I'm watching a postseason game? Or Pat Sajak, either one.
Well, the difference is today it's not pay-per-view.
If he could turn it into that, he would. 1st and 3rd, 1 out.
That's Pat Sajak. There's Scott.
Is he holding the radar gun? He's back there inches away. The 0-1 pitch. Fouled back on a curveball. It's 0-2. Weaver has 1 strikeout.
Jack.
Other luminaries, Adam Sandler, Jack Nicholson.
He's back.
Nothing in 2, 1st and 3rd, 1 out. And a fly ball into left. Here comes Rivera. No chance to score a run, and Weaver's 1 out away from getting out of this jam. Swisher can't produce the run, and it's 1st and 3rd, 2 out. It was 1st and 2nd, nobody out after a hit by Matsui and a walk to Posada. Number 9 man is Melky Cabrera. Jack Nicholson is from Neptune City, New Jersey.
So Mike Napoli, the catcher, out in front of home and giving signs as to what will happen and whether he'll throw through or not if Robinson Cano attempts to run. He gets that sign from Mike Scioscia, a former major league catcher. But with slow of foot on third base in Matsui with those bad knees, if Cano goes, he'll throw through.
Chance for Melky Cabrera. And a check on Cano. Cabrera so far pretty good, 3 out of 8 in this LCS, 5 for 20 overall during the postseason. And there's a look at that double set, something that Joe Girardi talked to us about before the game with Weaver. He comes set almost in two different spots out of the stretch, which is a borderline balk move. He just used it. See if he does it again. Typically that's his look. He comes set high around the chin and then again down around where the letters are on his chest.
If you do that every time, Girardi says there's no argument if you do it every pitch, but you've got to do it every pitch. You can't vary that move. There's one stop, again a stop,
and a good pitch on the end of it. 1-1 on Melky Cabrera.
Or Weaver relying on that breaking ball today.
That's down and in. Another thing Weaver does, which you don't see a lot of pitchers do, Tim, out of the stretch, is he almost has a little lunge forward before he comes back and gets set. I mean, he's really testing the outer limits of what you can do without being called for a balk.
Yeah, that's also one of the reasons for his effectiveness. Along with that, when he does release the ball, he throws across his body. Stop, stop.
To the right side. Good work by Jared Weaver as Kendrick takes care of Melky Cabrera. We go into the bottom of the second here in Anaheim. Angels coming up down 1.
For the perfect combination of flavor and refreshment, Budweiser, the great American lager.
Chevy and baseball have teamed up to give fans a chance to win tickets to the postseason. And even better, you have a chance to win a new Chevy. Just register at worldseries.com/Chevy and may the best team win. First pitch is outside for a ball to Vladimir Guerrero, and Guerrero is right in the middle of this lineup, batting the cleanup spot. 2 hits, 11 at bats, no RBIs, and he's had plenty of chances. Takes a pitch low, and the count's 2-0. It's Guerrero, Juan Rivera, and Kendry Morales. Good job by Weaver to get out of trouble in the top of this inning. And that's up the middle. Guerrero has a base hit. Home plate umpire Bill Miller is wearing a microphone, and here was his chat prior to the start of the inning with Yankee catcher Jorge Posada.
What time did you guys get in? We ended up flying. We got about 4 hours. Went back to the hotel, 4 hours of sleep, and got in here by the hotel about 3.
It was a late night, 5-hour and 10-minute game on Saturday night, and that caused everybody to have a quick night at the hotel, or in the case of the Angels and Yankees, just sleep on the plane on their way out west. You couldn't hear Posada. The Yankees got in at 6 a.m. Here is Juan Rivera, and a strike from Andy Pettitte. Little different feel here in Southern California. 74 degrees. We are in a Doppler-free stretch of our broadcasts. Partly cloudy. Meanwhile, back in the Bronx, 55 and sunny. Here's the 0-1. Check swing. Didn't go around in the count, 1-1.
It's a tough lineup for Andy Pettitte. He had 3 starts here at Angel Stadium this year and was 0-2. They have some tough right-handed batters with which he has to cope.
Down toward the end of the bat, back end out of play. Strike 2. This Angels team is first team in Major League Baseball history with 11 different players with 50 or more RBIs. Rivera's on that list, drove in 88, hit 25 home runs during the regular season. Good slugging percentage against left-handed pitching. And he has even the count 2-2.
Juan's biggest at bat all year against Jonathan Papelbon in the 8th inning of the 3rd game of the division series at Fenway Park when he singled to right center driving in 2. That closed the gap to 5-4. The Angels went on to score 3 in the 9th.
Now a 2-2 pitch. Reaching for it. 2 hops to Jeter. Out at second and safe at first.
Normally, this would not be close at first base. But because Robinson Cano almost has a shortstop's arm at second base, he throws flat-footed, and they just miss getting Rivera. And he was safe. Good call.
Good call by Jerry Lane. So it's 1 on 1 out as Rivera's aboard, and the batter is Kendry Morales. And Rivera stumbled getting back to the bag. Sure, his heart's racing as Andy Pettitte gave him a look. Overall, a .306 average for the regular season for Morales. Much more powerful batting left-handed. The switch hitting first baseman, just like the guy he replaced for the Angels, Mark Teixeira, who's holding on against Rivera at first. Howie Kendrick on deck. Morales went around, and that's strike 1.
Kendry did not want to swing, but did. That's what that cutter will do to you. Not only does it bite in tight on the right-handed batter, but it goes down too.
Tying run at first, 1 out, 1-1 pitch. That's strike 2. This was a predictable lineup put together by Mike Scioscia. Same lineup that he had for the Yankee left-hander CC Sabathia. When we asked him before the game, did he think at all about rearranging it or shuffling the lineup, he said, well, if a couple of guys looked better than others, I would have toyed with it or done it, but really everybody looks like they're off after a couple of games, and we'll just stick with what we have. Nobody really has stepped out in front of the rest of the group, so everybody stays put. Check on Rivera.
That is the 8th throw to first base in 1+ innings. It's an adage that has been introduced over the last decade, how speed slows down the game. More throws to first. Catchers looking at the dugouts, getting signs from managers.
That rides inside, 2-2. That's 19 pitches for Andy Pettitte, 8 throws to first. Double play ball to Jeter. A step and a throw. And Jeter, who led off in the first inning, with that, will lead it off for the Yankees in the 3rd, up 1-0. Part of the remodel when Disney owned this franchise, put the rocks out in center field. That waterfall, very serene out beyond the center field wall. It was loud out near the Yankee bullpen where Jeter went deep in the first inning, and it was a rocket. I mean, really well hit.
Derek cannot hit a ball that hard to left field, or any harder than the one he hit.
Now he goes into right center field. Hunter came in, now goes back and makes the catch. 1 out. So with that home run, I mentioned it, now you can look at it. He is still third, but he's 2 away from longtime teammate Bernie Williams. Most home runs in postseason history by a single player, Manny Ramirez, in 109 games with 29. And the Dodgers took it on the chin last night, a cold night in Philadelphia. Cliff Lee doing it again. Strike 1 on Johnny Damon. 11-0 the final in game 3 of that NLCS, and they'll go at it tonight after our action concludes here. Theoretically, doesn't always work that way. We could still be playing. A foul tip. 1 ball 2 strike count on Johnny Damon.
I think Jared Weaver's taken advantage of the drifting of Johnny Damon. We talked about it in game 1, how that head moves forward. He struck him out on a curveball. Second time up, change up, another curve. We'll see where he goes here.
Change up and a ground ball to the second baseman Kendrick. 2 out. So Jared Weaver pitches for the Angels. Older brother Jeff Weaver is with the Dodgers, not active this round of the postseason. Ken Rosenthal, what are his parents doing about trying to split their allegiance in time?
Well, Joe, Jared Weaver's parents currently are separated, but for the best of reasons. His father Dave is on the East Coast, where he saw Jared's Angels and now is watching Jeff's Dodgers. His mother Gail is here. She was watching the Dodgers, and now she's in Anaheim watching the Angels.
All right. Worked out perfectly for that family, and Roki Kuroda was activated, so Jeff, who was a part of the 3-game sweep over St. Louis in the division series, is just cheering on his teammates, who will play tonight behind former Philadelphia Philly Randy Wolf. Joe Blanton, the right-hander, making the start for Charlie Manuel's club. 1 ball 1 strike from Weaver to Teixeira. Good tailing pitch. Strike 2.
Tough pitch to pick up. That fastball inside. We talked about Weaver throwing across his body. Very effective with that last inside fastball.
And swinging and missing a ball in the dirt to end the inning is Teixeira. 2 strikeouts now for Weaver. Bottom of the 3rd inning in Anaheim. 1-0 New York. Angels have had a leadoff hit each of the first 2 innings, and a double play has ended each of the first 2 innings behind Andy Pettitte. It'll be Kendrick, Napoli, and Ibar, 7, 8, and 9 hitters, and the lefty starts Kendrick with strike 1. Now Kendrick with a .423 career average against Yankee pitching. Number 1 among active players, trying to get something started for the Angels, who trail 1-0 and 2 games to nothing. Easy in the air to right in the sunshine. That's Swisher. For the Angels, as we look back, the morning hours of April 9th, they learned that they had lost a teammate, Nick Adenhart, the 22-year-old, in an auto accident. The 47 comeback wins, a franchise record. A tear during the late summer, 27-8 from July 10th to August 19th. And they finally beat the Red Sox in the playoffs. It has been some kind of run here for Mike Scioscia. With this organization, he's in his 10th year. That's outside. Ball 1 to Mike Napoli. Artie Moreno is the owner of this franchise. Took over in May of 2003. The Angels have been to the postseason 5 times in his 7 years owning this organization. That's into right. Nick Swisher is coming on for out number 2. Shattered bat. 2 out.
So far, Pettitte doing a very good job coming inside to right-handers and outside. That was a fastball outside, right off the end of the bat by Mike Napoli. And that bat, rest in peace, it's gone.
Eric Ibar, the number 9 man, has 1 hit, has the only stolen base for the Angels in this series. There is Artie Moreno, Vietnam vet, member of the U.S. Army, and what a streak of success this franchise has had. 7 straight years they've been over 3 million in attendance, and he has really revitalized this organization.
Tom Reagan's taking over for Bill Stoneman as general manager a couple of years ago. Just done a terrific job. I beg your pardon, Tony Reagan's. As an example, Tony saw Garrett Anderson go to the Atlanta Braves. He lost Mark Teixeira to free agency and replaced them with 2 quality players.
Ibar drops one into center for a 2-out single. Ken Rosenthal is with us as we play here in the postseason of 2009. Another shattered bat. Figgins will dig in. Kenny Rosenthal, where do you see this organization turning as far as free agents? And you think about Vladimir Guerrero, the DH, who seems to be in his last year with this organization.
Joe, they have some really difficult decisions to make. Sean Figgins at bat now, a free agent. John Lackey, a free agent. You mentioned Vlad. Bobby Abreu, also a free agent. So they're going to be in a position where they're only going to be able to sign 1, 2 of those guys at most. And Guerrero is one who is likely to go. He is a favorite of Artie Moreno, but Matt Holliday is out there. Younger, more productive cleanup hitter.
1 on, 2 out. Sean Figgins at the plate, a base hit. His first time up, maybe his bat is starting to wake up. Mentioned he was on base 4 times in game 2, still had only the 1 hit. He was involved in a double play back in the first, hit into by Torrey Hunter. Living up to his reputation is Andy Pettitte, throwing over a lot. 9 times so far as he keeps an eye on Eric Ibar.
Outside.
That's outside. 1 ball, no strikes on Sean Figgins. There's a key for the Angels, and obviously anybody in a lineup hitting in a number 2 spot is going to be important. But Abreu, when the Angels win, he hits .323, 246 in Angel losses this season, regular season and postseason. He makes a big difference, and he's hitless in this ALCS. After reaching base 9 of 13 plate appearances against the Red Sox in that 3-game sweep. Right now it's Figgins who's at the plate with a 1-1 count. And a late break, and back just ahead of the tag was Ibar, who was frozen.
Frozen, and his athletic ability diving back saved him from being picked off. Looked like he was going, leaning on that right leg, just back in time.
I mean, this is the ideal time to run with Figgins at the plate. If Ibar can read Pettitte.
I get your drift, and it's the right drift, because the Angels only have 4 extra base hits in the 2+ games they played against the Yankees. 4 doubles. So it would be much, much better from a hitting standpoint for Ibar to try to steal so Figgins can get a single to drive him in.
A slide step move from Andy Pettitte, and he finds the strike zone. 1-2 on Sean Figgins.
I don't know how you run on Andy Pettitte unless you guess right. I mean, he's got the slide step, the dramatic move to first base. He is really, really difficult to run on.
When you talk about left-handers, if this series goes 7 games, 5 of the 7 games would be started by a left-handed pitcher for the Yankees. And Ibar, I don't think he's got a read on Pettitte yet.
You get so used to taking a left at first, you forget to know how to take a right.
Back to the bag, back to the bag. Trying to force his way down to second base. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Figgins. And now the lead has just become what? A step and a half, 2 steps? He has no lead now.
It's dwindled.
As effective going to first as he has been going to the plate. Andy Pettitte. Now the lead's bigger. And the count stays 1-2 on Figgins. What a great ballpark this is. Great setting for baseball. Franchise has been in this spot since 1966. Angels an expansion team in 61, played at Wrigley Field in LA, then at Dodger Stadium 62 through 65. Then the Big A, Anaheim Stadium. 96 they remodeled it after the Rams moved to St. Louis, and it is a very good baseball only facility. 1-2 pitch. There goes Ibar. Throw down is too late. He guessed right and made it easily.
When you guess right from a catching standpoint, put it in your pocket.
Gets his second steal of this series. And now the tying run is a base hit away.
Tell you, Joe, like all fastballs, or all pitchers can work off their fastballs, all base runners, the best way to slide is the pop-up slide, where the foot goes into the bag and it pops you right up, you're ready to run.
Figgins pops it up. Foul territory. Inning over. Angels have a hit in each of the first 3 innings. They strand their first and trail by 1 after 3 in game 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by John Hancock. The future is yours. By Hyundai Assurance, a little certainty in uncertain times. And by Universal Pictures, The Fourth Kind, in theaters November 6th.
4th inning now. Well pitched game to this point. Jared Weaver gave up the leadoff home run to Derek Jeter, and that's pretty much been it. Got around to hitting a walk in the second. He's now retired 6 straight. And first up is Rodriguez, who took a ball. Alex flying to center his first time up. That rides outside 2-0. Within those 68 career home runs against Angel pitching for Rodriguez, 37 hit here. That's inside, which is the most ever by a visiting player against this organization. Juan Gonzalez, Jose Canseco, and Rafael Palmeiro are tied for second on that list with 24 each. There's a strike. 3-1. After that trio, Reggie Jackson, who hit 18. Here's a 3-1 pitch. That is a rocket. Just blasted into left field. It's 2-0. and number 69 against Angel pitching.
It is a real problem for any pitcher to fall behind Alex Rodriguez. But the reason for that is you can't come inside with that fastball when you're behind in the count. So you have to resort to something else. Weaver on a 3-1 count with the changeup. So both home runs for the Yankees. Tremendous clouts. Man.
431 feet, the distance for that home run.
Ouch.
It was a 2-0 pitch to Jeter. It was a 3-1 pitch to Rodriguez. Both homered in game 2, and both have homered here in game 3. Here's Hideki Matsui, nobody on or out. The run is home. And nothing cheap about either home run hit by New York in this game. That is down in the count, 2-1. How about that? They've out-homered their opponent 10-zip.
That's domination right there. Those two guys today.
So much was made of their relationship when Rodriguez joined this organization. It's had its ups and downs. But here they are combining for home runs in games 2 and 3. Trying to get this Yankee team back to the World Series. There's a strike over the outside corner. Yankees have not been there since 03 when they lost to the Marlins. Haven't won one since 2000. 3-2 from Weaver is over but low, and now the second walk of the game handed out by Jared Weaver.
Here's what we were talking about when you fall behind. A-Rod sees a pitch miss from Weaver. Now it's 2-0. They try to come back inside. One of the bad things the guy's going to pop one is to come in with the 3-1 fastball, and then the changeup hit a mile. That's a talented swing right there.
Here's Posada. One on, nobody out, and a strike over the outside part. Matsui drew a walk. He's been on base twice. Funny thing is, when you think about where the Yankees are, they've won all 5 of their postseason games so far. Good pitch on a curveball from Weaver. But it's been done consistently just about every game. They've had great pitching, both front end and back end. They've had big hits from those two guys, Jeter, Rodriguez. Teixeira has 1 RBI, which came on the game 2 winner in the 11th inning in the division series. The other guys really aren't doing much, but they haven't needed to this point. There's been a hit here or there, but this has been a postseason so far that's been dominated for Girardi by his pitching staff and his 2 big stars in his lineup. One-two pitch. Posada takes ball 2.
And they've also been opportunistic by taking advantage of base running blunders in the division series. Game 2 by Carlos Gomez. Game 3 by Nick Punto of the Minnesota Twins. And then the 5 errors that the Angels have made in the first 2 games. Game 2 ending on an error. Every facet, they put the heat on the opposition.
Now a full count from Weaver to Posada. And as a group, they only hit .225 against the Twins. And that included Jeter's 400 and Rodriguez his 5 for 11. So the rest of the guys didn't do anything.
Right.
Here is a 3-2 pitch. Posada rips one into right center field. It'll get down. Matsui doesn't run like he used to. Will hold at second. It's 2 on with nobody out. It's time now for our John Hancock question of the day. How many pairs of brothers have been teammates in Angels history?
Jim Fregosi didn't have a brother that played for the Angels.
No.
Nolan Ryan didn't have a brother that played for the Angels, nor did Dean Chance or Bo Belinsky.
There was Ken Forsch and Bob Forsch.
Yep.
But Bob, I think Bob ever wore an Angel uniform. It was mainly St. Louis, and I think at the end might have ended with Houston, somebody, but predominantly St. Louis.
I spent one spring training with Bo Belinsky with the Cardinals in 1966, and his wife used to come to Al Lang Field in St. Petersburg, Florida for the games, and she drank pink champagne for spring training games. If there is one thing that alienates you from the wives of the team, it's drinking pink champagne during a spring training game.
What an odd habit.
Bo Belinsky, one of the great characters in baseball over the last 50 years.
Here's Cano. Darren Oliver getting loose for the Angels in their bullpen. Ball one low. When talking to Mike Scioscia before the game, he said, you know, we feel good. We feel like we have a little momentum. Question is, well, how? How can you feel that way? Well, we like Jared Weaver against this team. We like Kazmir tomorrow. We had the lead. We blew the lead in the 11th, but we feel good coming in. What the Yankees have done with Pettitte on the mound and with Jeter and Rodriguez at the plate is take all of that away. Here's Kendrick to his left, out at second. No chance to turn two, and it's first and third, one out.
Cano up his first at bat with runners on at first and second, nobody out. He grounded to short. This time, first and second, nobody out, grounded to second. So Weaver got two good ground balls from Robinson Cano, a terrific RBI man.
Here is Nick Swisher, who is just 3 for 24 with 4 RBIs. Runners in scoring position are the Yankees, 0 for their last 16. Swisher, as we mentioned, has struggled hitting here in this park.
Nick struck out 126 times this year, and that's what Weaver wants right now, is a strikeout or a double play ground ball.
There's a strike. Swisher fly to shallow left. In a similar situation his first time up. Did not produce a run. Yankees lead 2-0 on 2 home runs and have a chance for more. And Swisher went after a pitch in the dirt, strike 2.
Just think about it. I got to believe Nick Swisher's going to see that pitch again. Weaver may waste one up and away and then come back with a curveball. I think that's a throw to first. Nope. Yep.
It's the old step to third, look to first move. It works once every 3 years. Because it's sold so well by the pitcher, who really doesn't want to do it, but it's called from the dugout. So the thumb to the left, the pinky to the right, and then the half-hearted attempt by Jared Weaver. Here is the 0-2 pitch. Blocked by Napoli.
Good play by Napoli. A pitcher has to have confidence in his catcher to make a play like this. Try to get the hitter and entice him to swing that breaking ball out of the strike zone.
Count goes to 1-2. The Angels in their half of this 4th inning will have Abreu, Hunter, and Guerrero, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters, as Jared Weaver tries to keep it a 2-run game. just misses with ball 2.
Change up just outside. To Nick Swisher, you cannot look for a fastball here. He's thrown too many breaking balls and changeups. I think you'll get a breaking ball right here. Nope, changeup.
So back-to-back changeups and a foul tip. Still 2-2 for Jared Weaver. Was a first-round pick for this organization in 04. Came up in 2006 and was tremendous. 11-2, ERA of 2.5 in 19 starts. And his best year in 09, win total-wise, with 16. Was the inaugural Nick Adenhart Award winner for the best pitcher on the team. 4 complete games, 2 shutouts.
Here's the curveball.
Angels need something from Weaver here, and he gets a strikeout, a big one, his 3rd of the afternoon.
Good curveball. That might be his best curveball he's thrown this afternoon, and it is in a big situation.
And if you ever wonder why pitchers break down or elbows blow out or shoulders, that slow motion replay of that elbow leading with Jared Weaver snapping off a curveball ought to make you understand a little better. 1st and 3rd, 2 out. Melky Cabrera, late swing and a foul tip. You can see that nerve that comes out. And that ligament, whatever it is in there. And I mean, it just hangs out there as Weaver has that arm exposed with his body diving down to his left.
A lot of torque.
Here's the 0-1. Strike 2.
Another curve.
Tell you, on the heels of a mammoth home run hit by Rodriguez to start this inning, it could be a mini lift for the Angels if Weaver can get out of this. Keeping it a 2-0 game. High fastball, still 0-2. After the home run, Matsui walked. Posada got a base hit into right center. Cano grounded into a force out, a strikeout of Swisher, and an 0-2 count on Cabrera. Little pop-up behind second base. Out is Ibar for a nice defensive play to end the inning. Had to go a long way. Speaking of long way, Jeter hit it a long way. A-Rod even longer. 2-0 New York after 3.5. Time for Bobby Abreu to get it going for the Angels. That's what they hope. 0 for 10 in this ALCS. Leading it off, 2-0 New York. Bottom of the 4th inning. And a strike from Andy Pettitte. Abreu, Hunter, and Vlad Guerrero. Anybody gets on Juan Rivera. Frank Robinson is here. Rod Carew threw out the first pitch. 0-1 pitch is inside from Andy Pettitte.
Rod Carew, one of the few players who had his number. There's Rodney. He had his number retired in Minnesota with the Twins, and here with the Angels, number 29.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Down and away. Was there anything that Rod Carew couldn't do with a bat? He could do everything from a bunt to go deep.
Houdini. He could also steal home from third, particularly when he played for Billy Martin.
With 300 or better 15 consecutive years. A Hall of Famer in 1991 as Abreu takes ball 3. From Panama, Rod Carew, his family moved to New York when he was a teenager. Watching Abreu lead it off and take a strike to run the count full. Last note about Carew, a .328 career average. Three balls, 2 strikes.
I've seen rally caps. I really don't know what that was. A rally kerchief, perhaps.
Served into left, right at Johnny Damon. Yankees had Abreu played perfectly. Home plate umpire is Bill Miller, and he is a very active home plate umpire and vocal.
Ball's down. That's outside. That's inside. That's behind us. Ball's inside. No, he didn't. Did he swing? Yes, he did.
What a great audio clip right there. Very active, as you said.
And we thank Bill for wearing the microphone for us to give us that little taste of what goes on around home plate. Ball 1 low to Torrey Hunter. Torrey bounced into a double play his first time up. 3 for 10 in this LCS, and that's jerked foul. This guy just lights up a camera. Got a great smile. Seems like he would be a fun teammate. His favorite quote: "With great power comes great responsibility," from the great Spider-Man. There's a base hit through the left side, and the Angels, in all 4 innings, have a hit, but they've hit into 2 double plays and stranded a runner.
That's a cut fastball. And Torrey Hunter cuts it between short and third. Andy, a little miffed that he didn't get that ball more inside. Angels need to back up a couple of hits to get something going here in the 4th.
Looking for production out of their DH and cleanup man Vladimir Guerrero. Inside, ball 1. Vladimir Guerrero has left 10 runners on this series. Has a hit in each game, but no production. That's high. 2-0. Fall asleep over there, and Andy Pettitte will get you. First look at Torrey Hunter over there, as Vladimir Guerrero was 4 for 10. Left 5, drove in 2 with that 2-out hit off Papelbon last Sunday to finish off the 3-game sweep.
Yeah, he's got a wake-up call as a pickoff move.
And there it is again. Andy Pettitte tied for the most wins during postseason play with 15, tied with John Smoltz. He beat Smoltz in Game 5 of the '96 World Series 1-0 in Atlanta. That was a different look as Pettitte was almost split. Stepped a little toward first base, threw more across his body and missed with ball 3, 3-0.
That's well put and right on the money, because you don't normally see Andy Pettitte do that. If he's going to first, he goes to first 100%. If he comes home, he does it 100%. That 80-20 formula will get you.
Three and one.
To explain that a little more fully, that 80-20 is when you're thinking about the hitter only 80% of the time, and 20% of your mind is worried about the runner. That's a bad formula for any pitcher.
There goes Hunter. The throw over. Now down to second for the out. 2 away.
That's a bad play. You have a bad ball hitter up there in Guerrero. A 3-1 count. You've got to make sure you don't see Torrey Hunter make too many bad base running plays, but that's one right there. Now Pettitte can pitch to Guerrero a little more freely.
Goes down as a caught stealing 1-3-6 with Teixeira feeding Cano, make it 1-3-4, and now that's on the inside corner. It was Cano who took the throw, and a fist pump from Andy Pettitte. Now the 3-2. A walk follows Torrey Hunter's base running mistake, and it's 1-on-2 out.
That would not be nearly as blatant a bad play if it's a 1-0 game, if it's a tie game, if you're ahead in the game. But when you're down by 2 or more, you have to be cautious. Torrey very upset with himself, and he should be.
So now Juan Rivera. If you're wondering about home runs, we showed you earlier that the Yankees have not allowed a home run by the opposition so far this postseason. It's a Yankee record. No home runs in 54 innings. Now 54 2/3 innings pitched by this Yankee staff. Juan Rivera hit 25 home runs during the regular season. There's a strike. Juan Rivera, his first time, bounced into a force out at second. Waits for the 0-1. 0-2. /90-mile-an-hour fastball with that cut action down and into the right-handed batter, and Rivera is in the hole. 0-2. There's not much straight coming out of the hand of Andy Pettitte.
No. He couples that cut fastball with the fastball away, a two-seamer that runs away from a right-handed batter, an occasional curveball, occasional changeup.
In the air to left, and Damon makes the play. Man out on the bases, a walk. Angels have left 2. After 4-2-0 New York. Back after this from your local Fox station. Once again, our John Hancock question of the day: how many pairs of brothers have been teammates in Angels history? The answer: Benji and Jose Molina, Jared and Jeff Weaver in 2006. Here is Jeter lining one into right at Abreu. 1 out. One pitch, one out to start the 5th inning. 2-0 New York. Yankees have had Felipe and Matty Alou, Phil and Joe Negro, Bobby and Billy Shantz.
Bobby and Billy Shantz. I did not know of Billy Shantz. I didn't know that. I didn't know Bobby had a brother. Bobby's still thriving in the Philadelphia area. For years ran a golf course with Kurt Simmons. Robin Roberts was co-owner. I think it's in Meadowbrook, right outside Philly. Bobby, one of the greatest fielding pitchers ever.
You know all that, and you didn't know he had a brother. Here's a shot down the right field line off the bat of Damon into the corner and gone. 3 solo home runs, and it's 3-0 New York. Jeter, then A-Rod, and now Damon, who gets his first not only home run but RBI of this 2009 postseason, and he hammered that high pitch. Now Teixeira comes up empty on a Weaver curveball.
Well, I tell you, that was a straight changeup, and Weaver had luck with off-speed pitches the first 2 times up, and you think Johnny Damon wasn't going up there looking for a straight change or something off-speed. Home run, home run, home run.
2 guys who hit the first 2 are the most excited in that dugout, Jeter and Rodriguez, and it's 3-0 New York, up 2 games to nothing over the Angels as we play here in the 5th. That skips in from Weaver. The defensive shift brought to you by X. Relearn life without cigarettes. Free at becomeanx.org. Left side of the infield open for Teixeira, and Weaver deals inside a full count. That's in the dirt. Now a walk to Teixeira. And how much longer are the Angels going to go with Weaver? Kenny Rosenthal, you're down by the Yankees in the corner of their dugout. What's your sense down there?
Well, they're very confident right now, obviously, Joe, and they should be. It's like aura and mystique have made a comeback. Teams are falling apart at the sight of the Yankees. We saw it in the division series. We're seeing it here in the ALCS. And I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but if you look ahead to a possible World Series matchup, maybe the Phillies, the tough-minded Phillies, are the kind of opponent that they need, but I'm not sure the Phillies would have the pitching to hold this team down.
1 on, 1 out, and here is Rodriguez. This one's into left field. Will it carry at the track? Allowed out number 2. Just got under it. They are swinging from their heels, and that time A-Rod just came up short.
Looking fastball, got it inside part, and just missed it. That's interesting that Ken talked about the Philadelphia Phillies. The one thing the Phillies can throw against the Yankees that no other team can, 3 left-handed starters. Cole Hamels, Cliff Lee, and Jay Happ.
But I'm also going to go back to something that Ken Rosenthal said, and that is getting way ahead of ourselves here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
I mean, the Angels are in this game, and that's why I say, how much longer is Mike Scioscia going to stay with Jared Weaver? He has not brought his good stuff with him to the park here today. His day started with a home run. He's given up 2 more. He's walked 3. He's given up hits. He's made some big pitches when he's had to, like last inning after allowing 2 to reach following the home run, got out of that. But this is just a 3-run game, and for the Angels, they have to hope at some point their bats wake up. It's not going to matter how they pitch in this series. They're not hitting anything.
That's right.
All the way up to 91 pitches as Weaver works here in the top of the 5th. 2 out. One on, and a 1-1 pitch is fouled down the left field line. The Angels in the bottom of this inning will have Morales, Kendrick, and Mike Napoli. Eric Ibar due fourth. A foul out of play. On the other side, the Philadelphia Phillies will take on the Dodgers, and that's game 4 tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on TBS. And the Dodgers need a good one out of Randy Wolf to even that series. It's just 2-1, and Joe Blanton will be on the mound for Philadelphia. The Phillies have been scoring runs like they did last night early, getting good starting pitching. They have a weakness on their team compared to a year ago in their relief corps to some degree. They've used Jay Happ a ton out of their bullpen. Lidge blew 11 saves during the regular season. He's been good so far in the postseason, but they can be vulnerable in their bullpen. It just hasn't really shown up so far this postseason.
Very effective left-hander for them last year. J.C. Romero, he's out of there.
The 2-2 and a strikeout ends the inning. That's strikeout number 4. But in the inning for the Yankees, home run number 3. 3 solo shots, 3-0 New York. Halfway through game number 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Chevy and our award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Bottom of the 5th inning, Andy Pettitte has a 3-0 lead now thanks to 3 solo home runs. Jeter, A-Rod, and Damon. A strike to Kendry Morales. Interesting exchange between Jared Weaver and Mike Scioscia, his manager, after the top of this 5th inning. There is strike 2, and here it is. Jared Weaver coming in, and Mike Scioscia telling him obviously he's finished, and Jared Weaver saying I'm good, but he is finished after going the first 5, and that pitch down and in. He was not going to get, he being Mike Scioscia, was not going to get talked out of it by his 27-year-old right-hander who is into the clubhouse. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Kendry Morales, and now a strikeout for Andy Pettitte, his first of the day. We talked to Joe Girardi moments ago, and the first question was about a lack of cobwebs. They got their day off, and they've come out pounding the ball today.
No, we've swung the bats well. We've had some opportunities when we have runners on first and second, nobody out, to get some more runs, and we know how dangerous this Angels team is, so we need to keep adding on.
Yeah, so as a manager, you kind of overlook the 3 home runs, and you think about the missed chances to maybe pile up on that scoreboard.
Well, we know this is a momentum club, and when they get something going, that, you know, they can score a few runs on you in a hurry, so we want to continue to add on.
Let's talk about Andy Pettitte, who burst onto the scene, at least postseason wise, in '96. You were catching him from time to time, and my gosh, he looks good in his 2 postseason starts this year.
He really has, and he's got some important double play balls and important pickoff. He got a Torrey Hunter, and Andy knows how to get outs, and that's what he's been doing for us.
You went through everybody in your bullpen in game 2, but after the off day and the travel day, any limitations or restrictions down there?
No, everyone feels good, and we're encouraged about that.
Here's a shot into left off the bat of Kendrick into the bullpen, and the Angels are on the board. First home run of this series. First home run against Yankee pitching, and the Angels have to hope that's the start. It's 3-1. Ball is really carrying today, and Kendrick just pounded it into the bullpen.
The one drawback on that cutter is when a right-handed batter is looking for it and gets the head out. That is baseball player speak. Get the head out, and that's what Kendrick did to put the Angels on the board.
Now Napoli trying to match that feat, comes up empty.
One more time, Joe. Get the head out. That ball about 6 inches inside. Quick hands by Kendrick.
Napoli takes up and away, and that is the first home run hit against Yankee pitching, as I said, but to put a number to it in 55 1/3 innings this postseason. Pettitte gives it up. It's a 2-run game. One ball, 2 strikes on Napoli.
That is a new machine that we have. Now, the release, we talked about in game 2, the speed of the pitch out of the pitcher's hand. That's the release speed. It was 88. By the time it got to home plate, it was only 82. So you have to clarify when you hear that term, 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Where is it 95? Well, that means it's 95 out of the pitcher's hand. But when it gets in the hitting area, it changes 6, 7 miles an hour slower.
1 out, nobody on, a run home. Angels get a jump start from Howie Kendrick. And now a strikeout follows it as Napoli goes down swinging on a ball up around his chin. 2 out.
So here it is one more time. When it leaves Pettitte's hand, it's going 88 miles an hour. But when it gets to the plate, only 82.
Peeking over the edge of his glove and facing the number 9 hitter Eric Ibar, who singled and stole a base his first time. 2 for 9 in this series, and a pitch up and away, ball 1. 4 solo home runs, and Darren Oliver, who stood to be the winner in game 2 at Yankee Stadium until the blown save by Fuentes and the home run by Alex Rodriguez, is going to enter this game and deal with Posada, Cano, and Swisher in the 6th. That's 3-0 on Ibar.
I think you take 2 pitches if you're Ibar in this situation. If Pettitte throws a 3-0 strike, take again 3-1. You're 2 runs down, not 1.
That's pitch number 67. Andy Pettitte was rolling in that divisional start at Minnesota, was pulled after 81 pitches. So Girardi likes to jump into that bullpen when he can.
Fastball away.
Here's a 3-1. 1 hop to Rodriguez. Comes up on him, and the inning is over. So not taking on 3-1. The inning is over. Finally production and a long ball off the bat of Howie Kendrick. It's 3-1 New York after 5 in game 3.
Game on Fox is sponsored by Verizon Wireless, America's largest 3G network.
New pitcher into the game, Darren Oliver, takes over the lefty for Jared Weaver, who went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs on the 3 home runs. 5 hits overall, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. And Jorge Posada will turn around, bat right-handed against Oliver. Here's a strike. We've listened in to a couple of conversations with Bill Miller, the home plate umpire. We'll have a chance to play an interesting one for you in a question that was asked by the man at the plate now, Jorge Posada. Last inning. Sure, maybe knowing that he was going to lead off. Here's his question.
Can we get the lights in next inning, next start of the inning? We get the shadows out of the way? Yeah, I don't know if it'll help much, but yeah, I'll talk to Timmy, see what he wants to do.
Jorge wanting the lights on for the next half inning. They are not on.
Jorge thinking about the edge, realizing he was going to lead off the next half inning.
He's backed up on the count, facing Oliver. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's foul outside third. Posada has walked and singled. On deck is Cano and then Swisher. Important for the Angels and for Oliver to have an uneventful top of the 6th and then have the bottom half of the inning, which will begin with the top of the lineup for the Angels, get something going as they trail by 2 runs and by 2 games in this ALCS. There's a good start for Darren Oliver as he strikes out Posada. Tomorrow night, it's game 4 of this 2009 American League Championship Series. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific in high definition, only on Fox, in a matchup of Scott Kazmir, the lefty, and CC Sabathia. They went 8 innings, 1 run on 4 hits in game 1 in New York, and there are the numbers for Kazmir against the Red Sox in game 3 a week ago Sunday. That was Kazmir watching with a purpose. He's a left-hander waiting to start and watching a left-hander deal with Cano, who he'll have to tangle with tomorrow night. Left side in the hole. It goes up the wrist of Eric Ibar and into left.
I think that should be scored a base hit. Tough play. Even had he come up with it, even though Ibar has a strong arm, it would have been a tough play to get Robinson Cano, who runs well. And it is a base hit.
1 on 1 out for Cano, his 2nd hit of this LCS. He's now 2 for 11. And here's Swisher, who's had a frustrating afternoon. He flied to shallow left with 1st and 3rd, 1 out in the 2nd, then struck out with 1st and 3rd, 1 out in the 4th. Inside corner, strike 1. Good pitch from Oliver.
Joe, the Angels obviously very much in this game, but if they do lose, they realize, and everybody in and around baseball knows, understands, that only one team in the history of the game has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. And that, of course, the Boston Red Sox back in 2004.
This is for the Yankees, their first LCS since that collapse. Safe at first is Cano, barely. That was close.
Very close. Tell you, that looked like he may have touched him on the back, coming down on the bag. Very, very close.
That's strike 2 on Swisher. Here it is.
You can see Morales backing up. No, he was in there. Good call by Jerry Lane. Tagged him on the middle of the back, but the hand was in there.
Backing out of play. Darren Oliver is 38. He's born in Kansas City, now lives in Texas. One of the real good guys in Major League Baseball and a valuable part of this Angels roster. His dad, Bob, played in the big leagues. So he grew up around the game. And Bob, Darren's dad, led the Angels with 19 home runs back in 1972.
19 home runs.
That's to 3rd and a foul ball. Foul ball. And the count remains 1-2 on Swisher.
Once it goes over the bag, it is called by the 3rd base umpire. And you could see it. It hit about 2 inches foul. Just foul. Home plate umpire calls anything in front of the third base bag or in front of the first base bag, and the line umpires call anything after it crosses the bag.
And Swisher's fooled by Oliver. That's out number 2. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Darren Oliver.
Very deceptive changeup to get Swisher.
Before the at-bat by Cabrera, the Hyundai in-game box score. As we introduce the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. Solo home runs for all 3 runs. Jeter, A-Rod, and Damon. That is a line drive with the broken bat sticking out of the ground. Rob Thompson picks it up, goes back to the bat rack. 3-1 into the bottom of the 6th. Top of the order coming up. Andy Pettitte back to work. Top of the order for the Angels. Starting to get desperate for the Angels, even though it's only a 2-run game. It's 3-1. Figgins is 1 for 2. Mike Scioscia hoping that he can kickstart this offense. They got the home run from Howie Kendrick last inning. It's going to be in the 6th. There's a strike. This was a Yankee team that regular season and postseason 99-4 when leading or tied after 7. So once you get past the 7th inning, which is next inning, this team is virtually impossible to beat. There's a strike. That speaks to their good bullpen. It's the best winning percentage. 99-4. Since 1920. It's outside. That's considered more the live ball era, and there was one guy more than the others responsible for changing the name of that era in 1920.
That was 1 year after World War I ended. It's a long time.
Here's a 2-2. Figgins. Jeter circles it, gloves it, throws it, and got him by half a step at first. Figgins 1 for 3 and now 2 for 22 in the postseason.
Gives you an idea of how it can be very difficult to see when the ball goes from the sunshine to the shade.
Cabrera not able to center it, shattered his bat, and that's how the top of this 6th inning ended. Batter is Bobby Abreu, who is 0 for 2. And now 0 for 11. Wearing that around his neck until he gets his first base hit. And I'm sure tired of thinking about it or hearing about it.
At 0 for 11 after Abreu had a terrific division series. 5 for 9 against Boston.
A strike to Abreu. Andy Pettitte has not had a 1-2-3 inning all day. He's allowed 1 hit in each inning. Angels have hit into 2 double plays, stranded 2, and their only run on the solo home run by Kendrick in the 5th. It's 3-1 New York. 6th inning of game 3. That's outside. 2-1. And now 3-1.
Abreu normally takes in this situation. He is a very good situational hitter. Take 3-1, try to fight your way on.
Full count. either taking all the way or didn't like the pitch, as that was over the inside corner. Now the lights are on.
Yeah, I think it's Abreu's style to take in situations like that, since he does not represent the tying run. Tying run on deck in the shadows.
Abreu also one of those guys who does not mind at all hitting with 2 strikes.
No.
Full count from Andy Pettitte with 1 out in the inning. And a line drive base hit to right. First hit of this series for Bobby Abreu.
Got a fastball down the middle and drilled it to right field. And now the Angels have the potential tying run at the plate.
So Abreu is on, Hunter is up, and Vladimir Guerrero, the DH, will follow. Hyundai in-game box score for the Angels. See some hits mixed in there, but only 1 extra base hit as we introduce the all-new 306 horsepower rear-wheel drive Hyundai Genesis Coupe. And no surprise, Joe Girardi is not scared to go to his bullpen and not scared to use a quick hook, whether it's for a starter like he did with Pettitte in Game 3 of the division series in Minnesota after just over 80 pitches, or like he's done with his bullpen throughout the postseason. Here's Hunter, and there's a pop-up that will stay in play. Fighting the sun, Swisher. 2 out. And so where is the Angels' production? Torrey Hunter does not have an RBI in this series, and neither does the guy hitting behind him. And that guy is Vladimir Guerrero. Tying run at the plate, Guerrero.
Oh.
Just missed a pitch to hammer.
That was the best fastball and pitch that Guerrero has had all afternoon. His last home run coming September 18th at Texas.
Ken Rosenthal, you talk to scouts. How do scouts view the swings of Guerrero and how the opposition's pitching him right now?
Well, Joe, talking about the Angels in general, they still like to swing, even though their plate discipline is significantly improved. So when teams are successful, they work around the edges, try to get them to bite at pitches that they really can't handle.
Here's a 1-1. Off the hands, out of play, strike 2, and Andy Pettitte is 1 strike away from getting through 6 innings here this afternoon.
Thunder sticks in the stands. What the Angels are looking for, thunder sticks on the field.
They need it specifically out of their cleanup man. And a check on Abreu. Vladimir was up his last time in the 4th inning after a hit by Hunter, but Hunter left too soon and was lost on the bases. Pettitte threw behind him at first. Hunter was tagged out at second. Guerrero walked, and then Rivera flied out to left. Wouldn't chase it. 2-2. By not getting after Andy Pettitte, the Angels are in this situation. Got Pettitte on the mound. You've got Chamberlain starting to get loose in the bullpen. You've got all those arms out there that can be dominant for the Yankees. And the Yankees have CC Sabathia preparing for a start tomorrow night. Well, the Yankees lead this series 2-0. Angels need something right now. Still 2-2 on Guerrero.
Also in that mix, the dominance of Mariano Rivera, who was prepared for yet another 4-out save. Rivera has been peerless throughout the postseason. He's appeared in all 5 games, 7 innings of work, no runs.
Interesting visit from Joe Girardi. With a count of 2-2, goes jogging out to the mound to talk to Posada and Pettitte.
Now he's talking to Posada. That's an ex-catcher talking to an active catcher and telling him what he wants him to do, what to put down. And my guess is that he's reminding Posada, you don't have to throw him a strike. Expand the strike zone. Way down and in, away. Curveball.
Guerrero in the air to left. Back is Damon. The Angels have tied it. Strike 1 on Rivera.
Get the head out, and he did.
And you talk about a reward for your manager. He's had people ask him why he won't take Guerrero out of the cleanup spot, if not the lineup altogether. He has stayed with his regular group, and Vladimir just electrified that dugout.
Certainly no reward for the other manager. Joe Girardi had just gone out to talk to Pettitte and Posada. You almost know Joe told Posada and Pettitte, don't throw a strike. Don't throw anything near the strike zone. But it was too near the strike zone, and Guerrero ties it.
Now a pop-up on the right side. Cano ends the inning. Top of the order gets it done, and in particular the cleanup man. First home run since September 18th. Watch it fly, Vladimir. Tied at 3. Back after this from your local Fox station. Top of the order for the Yankees, 7th inning now. Jeter, Damon, and Teixeira against Darren Oliver. 3-3 game. All of the runs scoring on home runs. Jeter started it with a blast in the first inning into the Yankee bullpen. Strike 1 from Oliver. Now Kevin Jepsen, the hard-throwing right-hander who we saw in game 2, gets loose. That's inside. Darren Oliver, who just turned 39. Struck out 2 in his first inning of work in the 6th. Strike 2. Jeter is homered, fly to center, line to right. A-Rod due up 4th this inning. If it gets there, that's low. 2-2. Strikeout for Oliver, his 3rd. An inning and a 3rd.
And the breaking ball gets Derek Jeter.
So Johnny Damon, who homered his last time up, right down the right field line. His first RBI of this postseason. Now 6 out of 26 overall against a combination of the Twins and the Angels. Ball 1 outside. Ball 2 outside. Pretty well hit and caught by Torrey Hunter. Got a good jump and caught the line drive to center. 2 out. Tonight on Fox, don't miss one of the most bizarre medical mysteries ever on an all-new House. Then Dr. Cal Lightman must prove a murder suspect's innocence while being held hostage on an all-new Lie to Me. After House tonight here on Fox. Here's Teixeira. 0 for 2 with a walk. And just 1 for 12 in this series. Strike 1. The Angels will have Morales, Kendrick, and Napoli. Down and in. 1-1.
And this is almost assuredly the last batter that Darren Oliver will face, with A-Rod on deck and Jepson loose in the bullpen. No way do you allow Oliver to pitch to A-Rod. Unless Teixeira's on at second, you put A-Rod on at first, and then you pitch to Matsui. But Jepson ready.
Inside. How about Vladimir Guerrero, who just showed on the bench? All those years, all the production, had hit 1 postseason home run over the years. It came back in the division series in 2004. A swinging strike on Teixeira in a full count. Hit a grand slam. That was back in 04. He hadn't homered this year since the 18th of September. And against Andy Pettitte, ties the game in the bottom of the 6th with a 2-run shot. A walk keeps the top of the 7th inning alive. And that's going to be it for Darren Oliver. An inning and 2/3 with a walk, 3 strikeouts for Darren Oliver. A-Rod coming up. Jepson coming in. Kevin Jepson into the game, relieving Darren Oliver, and here is Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez takes a ball inside. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Teixeira at first. Third baseman Sean Figgins right on the line. Top of the 7th, tied at 3, and that's ball 2, 2-0.
Outfield as deep as you can get without a ticket.
Kevin Jepson, who spent some time in the minor leagues this year. Rookie right-hander. Brings home a 2-0. 3-0 with Matsui on deck. 3 of his 4, 6 of his 9 RBIs this postseason have tied the game or given the Yankees the lead. It's tied right now. The 3-0. 3-1. Hard hit and right at Figgins, who was on the line, and that ends the inning. Right on the third baseline. Time to stretch. What a game. 3-3, game 3 in Anaheim.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Ink, the new business card from Chase. Make your mark with Ink. By DirecTV. No one else has all your favorite channels in HD. And by Chevy and our award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
On the strength of a 2-run home run by Vladimir Guerrero in the 6th, we're tied. Here is the game's summary brought to you by Verizon. Game 1, all CC Sabathia. 8 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. Game 2, 13 innings. Alex Rodriguez tied it in the 11th, and an error ended it. Committed by his Turris at second base. 4-3 the final, and now today. Game 3, 3 home runs for the Yankees to build a 3-0 lead. Jeter, Rodriguez, Damon. But Guerrero with 1 on, 2 out, 6th inning, goodbye, and a 3-3 game. From the sunlight to the shade to the bullpen.
And once again, that meeting on the mound before that pitch to Guerrero. Joe Girardi looks directly at Jorge Posada, not at Pettitte. And you've got to believe that Girardi, a former catcher, is saying, don't throw him a strike. Throw the ball under the plate if you have to. And sure enough, the cutter in on the hands. Guerrero got the head out to tie it. Man.
With a switch hitting, Kenry Morales first up. This could be the last hitter for Andy Pettitte. Jabba Chamberlain's ready to go in the bullpen, and Joe Girardi would rather have Morales hit right-handed and then go to Jabba Chamberlain.
And then Mike Scioscia has the option of bringing in Macier as Turris or allowing Kendrick to hit against the right-hander. I would think he brings in as Turris if Pettitte gets Morales out.
That's outside.
Outside ball 1. Kendry Morales has hit .391 over his last 32 home games. Regular and postseason combined with 34 RBIs, 11 home runs. He's 0 for 2 in this game, and he takes strike 1. .3 in the 7th. Ball 2 from Andy Pettitte. To get it, and a fly ball down the right field line, slicing foul, just foul. And Morales, who had a great look at it, started, stopped, started again, thought it might come back and hit on the line. And it didn't miss by much.
Normally that ball hit down the right field line by a right-handed batter will tail into the stands. But Morales, as you can see, playing the umpire, and that ball is just foul by about 4 inches.
2-2 the count. And now full. You know, the interesting part of it is Morales doesn't do a ton of running. You certainly lose that weapon of Andy Pettitte keeping runners close at first base.
That's exactly right.
When you take him out.
Yep.
Here's a 3-2. And a line drive into left field. Damon to his right. Reaches up and grabs it. And that's it for Andy Pettitte. 6 1/3. He cannot get the win. A 95 pitch day. And Joe Girardi is walking to the mound to make the change. 3 runs on 7 hits allowed. A no decision day for Pettitte into the Yankee bullpen. Tied at 3 in the 7th inning of Game 3.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Andy Pettitte on the right, the starter for the Yankees, and the DH Vladimir Guerrero for the Angels on the left. Now Kendrick shoots one into deep right, facing Chamberlain, and this ball is off the wall. Kendrick digs around second, flies to third. A wild triple.
There's a saying in baseball that triples are earned when you run hard out of the box. Kendrick giving himself a chance to be on third with 1 out. Little leaguers and big leaguers take note. Jabba not behind third base until belatedly to back up the play.
So Howie Kendrick, who has a home run, now a triple, has put himself 90 feet away with 1 out. Joe Girardi pays a quick visit as Macer Izturis doesn't bat for Kendrick, but he does come off the bench to bat for Napoli. Kendrick, who came in hitting .423 in his career against Yankee pitching, #1 among active players, is 2 for 3 with a homer, a triple. The infield is in. Ball 1 outside to Izturis.
It was Macer Izturis who tried a squeeze bunt in the 9th inning at Fenway Park, Game 4 of last year's division series. Mike Scioscia was criticized for that, but he casting criticism to the wind.
Izturis flies one into deep right. That'll put the Angels on top for the first time today. 4-3 LA. Takes a strike. 2 out in the inning, and Izturis right off the bench unties it with a sac fly to right.
what Mike Socia does now, he leaves his Turris in the game for better defense, takes Kendrick out, and puts Jeff Mathis behind the plate.
It was getting awfully late for the Angels. Last inning, 2 out, a man on, when Vladimir Guerrero tied the game with a home run off Pettitte. Now the Angels have the lead in the count 2-2 on Ibar. In the 8th inning for New York, it'll be Matsui, Posada, and Cano. No decision in this game for Andy Pettitte. Another 2-2 from Chamberlain, not close.
I said it was Macer Turris who was up there that didn't get the bunt down last year. It was Manny Ibar who didn't get the bunt down. Eric Ibar, not his younger brother, Manny, who plays for Tampa Bay.
Here's a 3-2 pitch and a rocket down the right field line. Ibar will dig for second with a 2-out double. And there's an extra run in scoring position.
Jabba Chamberlain tried the slider to Eric Ibar. Ibar doubles down the right field line, and now the Angels trying to tack on another.
Chamberlain certainly a weapon this postseason out of the bullpen. But after a year in which he was used as a starter, he does not have that dominant look to him like he had when he burst onto the scene in '07.
We talked about it the other night, talking about my view that Chamberlain has been mishandled this year by the Yankees and the Yankee organization. I had a conversation with Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, this morning, and he said, you know, that was an organizational decision, but we conferred with Dr. James Andrews in Birmingham, and we wanted to err. If we erred with Jabba Chamberlain, we wanted to err on the side of caution. And if that's erring, so be it.
Jabba Chamberlain came on to try and get 2 outs and keep it tied. He's allowed a triple, a sac fly, a double, and now he's gone. Damaso Marte will enter with Sean Figgins coming up. Angels lead for the first time here in Game 3, 4-3 in the 7th. Yankees started this day, the pitching staff's ERA of 1.59. It has sprung a leak the last 2 innings. A 2-out 2-run shot by Guerrero against Pettitte. An action here in the 7th against Jabba Chamberlain. Now Marte, and one pitch gets Figgins to fly to right. Fighting the sunshine is Nick Swisher. And the Angels settle for 1 after the Rally Monkey made its scoreboard debut here in the ALCS of '09. 4-3. LA on top after 7. Napoli was lifted for the pinch hitter is Turris. Jeff Mathis takes over behind the plate. And a breaking ball from Jepson misses for ball 1. Jepson finished off the top of the 7th by getting Rodriguez on a force out at second base. A grounder hit the 3rd. Matsui first up. Then Posada and Cano as the Angels have their first lead of the day, 4-3. Only other time they've led was in the 11th inning in Game 2 after the RBI hit by Figgins. That was quickly erased on the leadoff home run by Alex Rodriguez. Ball 3, 3-0. Matsui has singled, walked, and struck out. Three and one.
Now it's Matsui's time to choose an inside fastball and try to jerk one. Hitters refer to that as a free swing. 2-0, 3-1.
And he draws a leadoff walk. So the Yankees get a good start to their half of the 8th inning. Tomorrow night, game 4 of this ALCS, and a matchup of Scott Kazmir and CC Sabathia. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific in high def, only on Fox. Here comes Mike Butcher. Out comes a pinch runner, Brett Gardner. Gardner runs for Matsui. And Butcher comes out to talk to Jepsen.
Of the right-handers in the bullpen for the Angels, Mike Butcher saying that Matt Palmer has the best move to first base, and that obviously comes into play since the speedy Gardner is on at first base. He's in there to steal a base. It's a matter of what situation he chooses. But Jepsen is not as quick to first base as Matt Palmer, and that's what Butcher's out to talk about right now. Make sure you pitch to the hitter and don't be consumed with the runner at first base. If he gets a jump, he's going to steal the base. Further, you have a new catcher in the game.
Gardner during the regular season stole 26, was caught 5 times.
Gardner does try to run. You got a guy behind the plate who's not really that loose.
Batter is Posada. Time called.
Holding the ball. That's the best deterrent to the stolen base threat. Of course, a strong arm behind the plate. A lot of right-handers will hold the ball, hold the ball, hold the ball, and make the runner at first base wait.
Strike one to Posada. Jorge Posada has walked, singled, struck out. Cano will follow, and Brett Gardner is the tying run at first with nobody out. Doing it again, holding the ball, and time called by Posada.
The one thing you don't want to do is hold the ball so long that it messes your rhythm up. A certain rhythm to pitching, a certain rhythm to base running.
Big lead at first. And Gardner back easily. Big body of the rookie, Kevin Jepsen. .6'3", 220. 25-year-old who was born right here in Anaheim. There goes the runner. Pitch out, throw down, and got it.
That was called from the bench. We talked about it earlier. How many managers make those calls? Socia calls for the pitch out, the throw by Mathis right on the money, and a quick tag by Ibar. One of the keys there also was strike one. If the first pitch is a ball, you can't pitch out. But because the first pitch was a strike, at worst, you even the count. That's an organizational putout right there at second base, from Socia to Mathis to Jepsen.
Now 2-1 on Posada.
Talk about guessing right.
The 2-1. Hit well into center field. Back is Hunter at the wall. This ball's gone, and the game is tied. 4 solo home runs today by New York. And Posada gets his second of this postseason.
After the caught stealing, the Yankees tie it.
So Gardner made the out, and Jorge Posada took one out to tie it 4-4 here in the 8th. The 11th career postseason home run for Jorge Posada. What a game yet again. And a breaking ball from Jepson is in for strike 1.
4-seam fastball inside part. Not for long.
One through 9, these Yankees can jump up and fight you. And this was out of the number 6 position. 4 solo home runs. Jeter, A-Rod, Damon, Posada. Now Cano is on, representing the go-ahead run in the 8th with only 1 out. Right now there is no action for the Angels in their bullpen, as Mike Scioscia will tell Mike Butcher to get onto the phone in a hurry. Mathis out to talk as Nick Swisher can turn around what has been a frustrating day at the plate. He's flied out, struck out twice, and Jason Bolger, the right-hander, will get loose. Phil Koch is the lefty. Phil Hughes is the righty. Girardi has already used Jabba Chamberlain and Damaso Marte. The Yankees have been popping home runs in the postseason like they did during the regular season when they led baseball with 244. (2-0) is the count on Swisher. Go ahead run at first with 1 out. Good speed with Cano aboard. There's a strike. 2-1.
We talked about Swisher's 126 strikeouts earlier. You're in a hit and run count, tie ball game in the 8th inning, but you don't hit and run with a hitter who swings through pitches. So it's doubtful that that will be employed right here.
And ball 3. Three balls and a strike on Nick Swisher. First year in a Yankee uniform. Traded to New York from the White Sox. 249 during the regular season. 29 home runs. 82 RBIs.
Fastball away.
And a walk. Second of the inning. That puts Cano at second base. It brings Mathis to the mound. And that might be it for Jepson, who has been ineffective. Got that final out in the top of the 7th, but he's walked 2, allowed a homer, a single, and the number 9 man, Melky Cabrera, stands at home plate. The only out in the inning was Gardner, thrown out stealing.
And how big is that right now? The pitch out call by Scioscia. a good throw by Mathis to get Gardner.
Socha will stick with the rookie Jepson. Breaking ball for a strike. The Yankees are 0 for their last 18 at the plate with runners in scoring position. They have their 4 runs today on 4 home runs. Bad ball down and in, and a swinging strike. Good job by Mathis to keep it at the plate.
Really good job by Mathis. Not insignificant when you consider that Cano could have gone to third base. The block by Mathis to deaden the ball and keep it close enough to hold Cano at second base.
Another one that skips in, and Mathis blocks it.
We saw that collision in game 1 of Alex Rodriguez bowling over Mathis. And the courage to hang with it, that tenacious play of holding on to the ball. And now 2 big blocks in this inning.
That's into the dugout, and a dangerous foul ball in the direction of Johnny Damon and Alex Rodriguez. Guerrero almost eliminated the biggest threat the Yankees have in their lineup.
Get down, guys.
And that hit right in front of Rodriguez, who ended up on the ground. And a swinging strike for out number 2. So a strikeout for Jepson on a breaking ball. And again, Mathis smothering it, a pitch in the dirt.
He's all over the place back there.
And so here's Jeter. Playing in his 129th career postseason game, most all time. Has homered in this game. His 20th career postseason home run. Who has more hits than anybody in postseason history. 2 on, 2 out. Ball 1.
Robinson Cano dancing off second base to try to get a good jump on a hard hit ball to the outfield.
Strike. Jeter takes strike 2. To Jepson. The rookie got out of further trouble. Jorge Posada ties it. Top of the 8th. Game 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Travelers. Insurance in sync. By Corona. Kick back and relax with an ice-cold Corona in lime. Relax responsibly. And by Blackberry.
Phil Cope takes over, the left-hander. Fourth pitcher of the day for the Yankees. How long will he be out there? Two right-handed batters to follow. Phil Hughes in the bullpen. First up is Abreu. Finally got his first hit of this series his last time up, and scored on the 2-out home run by Vladimir Guerrero. Now Fuentes getting loose in case the Angels get a run, or maybe no matter what they do, whether it's tied going into the 9th inning with the 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up for New York in the 9th. Abreu out of the way, of ball 1. Bobby Abreu came in hitless. Vladimir Guerrero had a couple of base hits. Combined 2 for 20, no RBIs, 1 run today. Different story. There's Phil Hughes. This could be one and done for Phil Cope.
Absolutely.
1-1. And that's in the air to center. Good start to the inning. The ball gets all the way to the wall. Abreu will dig for second. On his way to third, and now he stops. Throw behind him, 1 out. A base running mistake yet again by a Yankee opponent. He went too far, and there was Derek Jeter waiting to take the throw and the tag for the out.
A monumental mistake by Abreu. Cabrera was swung way toward left field, and yet another heads-up play by Derek Jeter. His 3rd of the postseason. Abreu blunders by rounding second too far, and Jeter makes the play, and we're going to have a pitching change.
And a heads-up play by Teixeira to get down there and cover. Cano was out in the outfield as well, and the play goes 8-6-3 with Teixeira making the play and the tag. So another base running gaffe by a Yankee opponent. This time it's the veteran Bobby Abreu. Phil Hughes coming out of the bullpen. A missed chance there. Abreu went too far and couldn't get back. Bobby Abreu put it in a good spot, kept on running, and thought better of trying to take third to start the inning. Couldn't get back.
Well, you might wonder, where was Robinson Cano on that play? Why Teixeira at second base? Well, Robinson Cano was the first cutoff man, just in case Melky Cabrera misses the cutoff man, which he did, and it was to Jeter who threw to Teixeira covering. Man.
So now Phil Hughes comes into the ball game and will deal with Torrey Hunter, breaking ball in for strike 1. High heat, strike 2.
They talk about it in football all the time, Joe, that guy with the nose for the ball. He's always where the ball is. That's Derek Jeter.
There's no doubt about that. And this time of year in October, he's made some plays. And 3 pitches and a strikeout of Torrey Hunter. 2 out.
You saw the play today, the assist by Jeter. Game 2 of the LDS. In the 4th inning, runner rounding third, Jeter makes the play, makes the tag before the run counted. Then in the 8th inning of game 3, Nick Punto, Jeter looks him back at third base, throws to Posada. Posada completed the play, but it was Derek Jeter who made the heads-up play of coming home.
Here's Guerrero, who has the 2-out game-tying home run back in the 6th. He has a single, a walk, the homer. Strike 1 from Phil Hughes. Again in the 9th inning. The Yankees will have Damon, Teixeira, and Rodriguez. The first 2 hitters before Rodriguez, despite their recent history with A-Rod taking Brian Fuentes out of the park the opposite way in the 11th inning of game 2. Got a lefty Damon, a switch hitter who's more powerful left-handed in Teixeira. We could see Fuentes in a 4-4 game. Here's a 1-1 to Guerrero. Good swings by Guerrero today. Upset that that one wasn't put in play, and it's 1-2. Still 1-2. Leadoff double by Abreu, outrunning the bases. Hunter struck out on 3 pitches, and now a 1-2 pitch again to Vladimir Guerrero. And a chopper to third. A-Rod gets a true hop and throws high, and out as Teixeira does it again. He's done it this entire postseason, especially in the ALCS, stretching, taking throwing errors away. Got the tag on Guerrero, tied into the ninth. A mixed reaction for Brian Fuentes as he entered the field, getting announced here at Angels Stadium. Blew the save in Game 2. Blew 7 saves during the regular season. And he deals with Johnny Damon. So much hanging in the balance for the Angels right now. Down 2-0. Blew an 8th inning lead. Here's Damon breaking his bat and grounding out to Kendrick to start the ninth in a 4-4 game. Today's Travelers game-changing play. It happened on the bases after the double by Abreu, and the play going 8-6-3 with Jeter in the middle, Teixeira on the tag, and only the second putout that scored 8-6-3 in postseason history. And the other one, the Giants did it to the Yankees in 1951.
How about that? You know, the interesting thing about that play, there was nobody behind Jeter to tell him where to throw the ball. His initial reaction was to third base because he thought Abreu, from the crowd sound, and he had his back to the play, but the crowd sound, he thought Abreu was going to third base, and that's why he was a bit surprised when he turned around, because nobody's there to tell him. Nobody's there to yell where to go. So he had to make up his own mind, adjusted, and got Abreu.
Teixeira is really struggling with the bat.
See, there's nobody around Jeter right there, so his first responsibility is third base. So he looks toward third, stops, goes to second.
Teixeira set up at 1-2. He's walked twice. He's 0 for 2, 1 for 12 in this series. And cannot hold up. Strikes out. 2 gone.
One-run Angel lead in Game 2. And everybody was saying, well, how can you pitch to A-Rod in this situation? You got to walk him. That was leading off the inning. And now Mike Scioscia's out to talk to Brian Fuentes. And that was the home run by A-Rod to tie the game. They won it in the bottom of the 13th. How many times do you see a tie ball game with nobody on and the manager out to talk to his closer? Not often.
Bulger's getting loose. Remember, Matsui was lifted for a pinch runner, so you have Gardner in the next spot. Jerry Hairston Jr. is already in the on-deck circle, and here comes an intentional walk.
How about that?
To Alex Rodriguez. Ken Rosenthal, give us more on reaction from pitching to A-Rod leading off in the 11th 2 nights ago.
Well, Joe, Brian Fuentes was second-guessed even inside his own clubhouse for throwing A-Rod an 0-2 fastball away. Torrey Hunter told a bunch of us yesterday, right before the pitch, I wanted to just call timeout. 2 fastballs in, A-Rod didn't even budge. Then we threw one away. That was weird. Now, Hunter added they had plenty of opportunities to score, but his message was clear.
So not even playing around with Rodriguez, who was homered in this game. He gets the intentional walk, and now Jerry Hairston Jr. in his 12th year, who got a postseason at bat for the first time and made it count 2 nights ago, leading off in the 13th inning, got a base hit and scored the winning run in the end of that play that started with the throwing error by Macer Turris.
If you as a regular player can second guess a pitcher when he throws a pitch, does the pitcher have the right to second guess you as a hitter or you as a fielder? That type stuff will eat a ball club up. That second-guessing pitchers and all that second-guessing going on, that's highly uncharacteristic of an Angel clubhouse.
Rodriguez at first with 2 out. And Hairston takes strike 1. In the bottom of the 9th inning for the Angels, it'll be Rivera, Kendry Morales, and Howie Kendrick. Just in case you're wondering, Rodriguez, who has a rather small lead, bad hip and all, did steal 14 bases during the regular season, was caught only twice. Strike 2. For the scoreless 9th. Tied at 4 going into the bottom half. This game is tied at 4 as we go into the bottom of the 9th inning, and you come into our booth. Are we headed for extras for the second straight game?
Well, if we do, it's better weather to do it.
That's for sure. Played 13 innings, game 2 on Saturday night, and here we've seen really another great effort on each side. 4 Yankee home runs and base running mistake on part of the Angels, and who knows what we're in store for bottom of the 9th.
4 solo shots. The first 3 runs scored by the Angels due to the home run. Howie Kendricks had a big game, a triple and a homer. What a game.
Phil Hughes stays in the game and will work to Rivera, Morales, and Kendrick. Rivera is hitless in this game. Hit 25 home runs during the regular season. Has not gone deep in 22 at bats this postseason. Breaking ball is a beauty from Phil Hughes. Strike 1.
Very important to get the first or second hitter on. You got to get runners on before the Yankees get to Mariano Rivera. That's the way you play it. That's the way I see it.
Hard hit, but right at Jeter. 1 out. What a difference Phil Hughes made in the bullpen for the Yankees. He was dropped out of the rotation in June, as we remind you that right after baseball. House is on tonight on Fox, except on the West Coast. 7 starts this year for Phil Hughes. An ERA of just under 5.5. Was moved out because Chin-Ming Wong was coming back. Remember, the Yankees are without their 2-time 19-game winner, Chin-Ming Wong. He's out, injured. So Hughes goes to the bullpen. The Yankee bullpen down the stretch had a great ERA of under 3.5, and Phil Hughes in particular was 1.40 in 44 relief appearances and bridging the gap. Either a starter or other parts of the bullpen to Rivera. He deals with Morales, a Cuban-born first baseman who pounded 34 home runs, 6th best total in the American League, takes a strike.
And because of that, I think Joe Girardi, again an ex-catcher, is telling Phil Hughes and Posada to stay away. Don't mess with him inside.
That one's too far outside. Remember the last time Girardi paid that type visit, a home run follow
by Vladimir Guerrero. Curveball.
good one for strike 2. There's the discrepancy. Left-handed 30 of his 34 home runs. He gets that advantage against the right-hander Hughes here.
Another hook.
And Morales laid off. 2-2. Henry Morales tried to defect 12 times, was successful his 12th attempt at defecting from Cuba.
15 days shy of his 21st birthday.
Entered the Angel organization. The heels of a great year, and he rockets one. A sinking line drive caught by Teixeira. He went up, the ball went down, and Teixeira stayed with it, 2 out.
You talked about Sean Figgins on the line for Alex Rodriguez. Well, that's one of the reasons that you guard the line with a guy with a good curveball. The curveball's more apt than not to be pulled. Morales pulls it right to Teixeira on the line.
And now Kendrick, who has homered, tripled, scored 2 runs. Had a big day. The Angels needed it, and he pops it up out behind second base. Cano is there, and Robinson, Cano, and Phil Hughes have just sent Game 3 into extra innings. 4-4 as we go to the 10th. Word is Chicks dig the long ball. They must like this game. We've seen plenty of it as Jason Bulger takes over. He doesn't want to see any of it as he pitches in the 10th inning. And he will work to the guy who hit the last home run we've seen in this game, Jorge Posada, who did it with 1 out in the 8th inning to tie the game at 4. His 11th career postseason home run. His 2nd of this postseason. And that floats away out of the hand of Bulger, ball 1. Posada, Cano, and Swisher. If anybody gets on, Melky Cabrera, the number 9 man, against Bulger. Bulger worked in game 1. When an inning and a third walk, 2 struck out, 2 did not allow a hit. Posada's been on base 3 times in this game. Ball 2. Irvin Santana gets loose. That's ball 3 high. Irvin Santana was on the mound when game 2 ended. Because of the economy of pitches for Phil Hughes, he's only thrown 16 pitches. Going through an inning and 2/3. Unless the Yankees get the lead, it looks like he'll trot back out there for the bottom of this 10th. If they get the lead, it's his turn. That's strike 1. 3-1.
What makes things so dangerous in this situation, you can make a good fastball pitch on a 3-1 count. Posada can take it out the other way. Power to all fields.
She did at the Twins in game 3 of the division series. It's now full 3-2.
That's some curveball on a 3-1 count by Bulger. Here comes another one.
A strikeout as Bulger battles back from a 3-0 count.
Two terrific curveballs, 3-1 and then 3-2 to get Posada. Look how tightly wrapped that pitch is.
Fuentes went 1 inning, allowed no runs or hits. The 1 walk was an intentional walk to Rodriguez, and he struck out 2. Bolger deals with Robinson Cano, who can take you deep. He hit 25 home runs during the regular season. Swisher next hit 29. In his postseason career, Cano is hitting under 100 from the 7th inning on. He does have a hit in the 8th inning today. To the second baseman, Kendrick. 2 quick outs for Jason Bolger. 30-year-old right-hander, turned 31 in December. From Snellville, Georgia. Bolger, who's been up and down in this organization since 2006. Scott Shields, who's been so good over the years for Mike Scioscia, out with a knee injury. It's a big hole that guys like Bolger and Palmer, postseason Santana, Jepson try to fill. 2 out, nobody on. Swisher takes the ball outside. Right-hander, it's 1-1.
John Lackey will start game 5 if there is one. It's pretty clear that Bolger is not going to give Swisher a fastball to hit. If it is, it's going to be away.
Good rip, but strike 2.
You don't mind him punching a single. You don't want him to pull a home run. Predictably a curveball.
And that's flipped down the left field line, foul. The Angels in the bottom of this 10th inning will have Mathis, followed by Ibar and Figgins. Another 1-2 and a strikeout for Bolger, and a 1-2-3-10 into the bottom half. Mathis will lead it off. Back after this from your local Fox station.
You're watching the 2009 ALCS on Fox.
I'll be dancing if the Angels come up with a run here in the bottom of the 10th. Tie game. First up, Jeff Mathis, and Hughes has looked terrific. Strike 1 in at the knees. Mathis came on in that 13-inning game in New York on Saturday night. Hit a double in that game. That was in the 12th with 2 out, nobody on, against Robertson, but he was stranded. Trying to get it going here in the 10th. last home run from Mathis, August 6th. And he shoots one into left center field. Damon on the run, won't get it. One hop off the wall. Mathis has started it with a double.
If Mike Scioscia chooses to do so with the potential go-ahead run, winning run at second base, he can pinch run for him because the Angels are carrying a third catcher. So are the Yankees. But do you pinch run Reggie Willits in this situation? Clearly the faster runner. And if you don't score, then you have to bring in Bobby Wilson to catch the top of the 11th inning. To me, you try to win it. And Mathis runs pretty well for a catcher, but you have the faster running Willits on the bench.
The interesting part of this, too, is that Joe Girardi has Rivera getting loose.
Yeah.
And he just sent Posada out to talk. And Mike Harkey says he's ready, and we could see Rivera here in a tie game, and we will. So Hughes gives up his first hit in an inning and 2/3. And Rivera will come on after the leadoff double to try and send it to the 11th. 4-4 here in game 3. If you're wondering why Joe Girardi's willing to bring Mariano Rivera on here in the bottom of the 10th now, why didn't he start the inning with him? He was trying to sneak Phil Hughes through one more inning and hold Rivera, because on the road you try and keep your closer for the bottom of the inning for the opportunity when you get the go-ahead run. Well, Joe Girardi now is going to use his biggest weapon out of the pen to try and keep it tied instead of trying to get a save.
And Mike Scioscia thinking. Do you pinch run Reggie Willits? Do you bunt here? I think the fact that Rivera's in the game, you almost have to bunt in this situation.
It's Eric Ibar. Winning run at second, nobody out. And strike one. Sure, Rivera is no pleasure to hit against. He's no pleasure to bunt against either.
I remember the play in the 2001 World Series Game 7 when Mariano Rivera made an overthrow of second base. He lost that game to the Diamondbacks of Arizona. This is a straight sacrifice.
And the bunt. Rivera spins, goes to third, gets away. Ibar is safe. Mathis holds at third, and the winning run is 90 feet away, and Damon was there to back up.
And we just talked about the error by Rivera in the 2001 World Series. And wouldn't you know it, Rivera to A-Rod in the dirt.
Just threw it right into the ground. They had a shot at Mathis, the catcher, who moves pretty well. Got to third and then held there as Damon was backing up the play. Good work by Johnny Damon.
Saved the game momentarily.
It's ruled a sacrifice, fielder's choice, no error. The infield is in. Figgins could win it. Outfield in as well, and a strike in at the belt to Sean Figgins, who's 2 for 10 in his career against Mariano Rivera. Everybody is pulled in. You could certainly toy even more now with pinch running Willits.
That's right. I was thinking the same thing, Joe.
I mean, if you're going to carry 3 catchers, now's a time where you need speed at third to win the ball game.
That's exactly right. So you send your fastest guy in there. Again, Mathis runs better than most catchers, but he's not as fast as Willits.
0-2 pitch. And a grounder to first. Diving stop. Runner holds. 1 out. Down to second is Ibar. And that's the first out of the inning. Mathis stayed at third. Ibar down to second.
Teixeira again. Diving all over the place. Now, regardless of whether the infield's in or not, you send the runner on a ground ball, you take a chance. And again, Willits is a faster runner than Mathis. I think you have to use Willits in this situation and take a chance. Why are you saving him? Unless he's hurt.
The intentional walk to Bobby Abreu to load the bases for Torrey Hunter. Willits appeared in the 8th inning of game 2. In the dugout, not being used. The winning run is at third base. Jeff Mathis. It's going to be up to Torrey Hunter with the bases loaded, 1 out.
Torrey Hunter runs too well to play your infield in double play depth. I think you almost have to keep him in for the force at home plate. When you bring the infield in, for the most part, what you've said is we're not going for the double play. And here comes Dave Island out to talk, sure, to the infielders and to Rivera about what they're going to do. I'm really surprised Girardi's not out there now.
To belabor the point, but even the force at the plate is easier with Mathis running than Reggie Willits.
I agree.
Unless the ball's hit right at somebody. Well, here's the opportunity the Angels need to get back into this series. House is coming up next, except on the West Coast. And now Joe Girardi comes out of the dugout. He's going to make a defensive switch. He's going to take Johnny Damon out of the game, put Jerry Hairston, who right now is in the DH spot, into the outfield. And so the Yankees lose the DH.
Yeah, the pitcher is inserted automatically into the DH spot. And Hairston is in left field. A good move by Joe Girardi, giving himself every opportunity. What Mike Scioscia is making sure with home plate umpire Bill Miller. Hairston a much better arm than Damon, and he'll have to be reminded to play shallow.
He gets a chance to warm up. And he'll bat. He stays in the 5 spot. The pitcher will bat in Damon's spot. But that could be academic if Torrey Hunter ends this game. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Torrey Hunter deals with Mariano Rivera. Ball 1 inside. Ball 2 to Hunter, who drew a walk against Rivera in game 1 of this ALCS. Two and 1. Chased it 2 and 2.
So he saw 2 fastballs on the inside corner, or off the plate away. Now he chases a ball in the dirt to run the count to 3 and 1. 2 inside, 2 outside. Or 2 and 2, I beg your pardon.
Bases loaded for Hunter, and that's to first. Teixeira comes home. Out, no other play. No matter who was running there, Willits, doesn't matter. Hit right at Teixeira on one hop, and he made the sure-handed play, an accurate throw.
Off the end of the bat, and for the force.
Well, the Angels already got one big blow from Vladimir Guerrero, and they ask for another. A 2-out game-tying home run off Pettitte in the 6th. Everybody back at normal depth, and a ball inside to Guerrero.
Mariano Rivera has such movement on his pitches that at times Posada has botched some balls, not in the dirt, but balls that are above the dirt.
Strike one on Guerrero. Mariano Rivera has walked only 18 in 125 career postseason innings. Came back from a 2-0 count to get Torrey Hunter. Chop to the right side. Teixeira will go to the bag, and Mariano Rivera saves the Yankees here in the 10th. Another missed chance for the Angels. We're going to the 11th in Game 3, tied at 4. Well, Mariano Rivera comes out of the bullpen and gets help from Teixeira on this play. Angels had first and third, nobody out, and don't score. Rivera's on the front end of it. Teixeira helped out with his glove. And it was reminiscent of Game 2 of the division series when David Robertson took care of the Minnesota Twins with their opportunities as Irvin Santana takes over. Realize that because Joe Girardi used Jerry Hairston Jr. in the outfield, Mariano Rivera is due up third in this 11th inning. And now John Lackey gets loose. Santana, typically a starter, should be able to give some length out of the bullpen if the Angels need it. It's Cabrera up now, Jeter, and then Mariano Rivera. Broken back, ground ball right side. Cabrera taken care of. And if you go back to Game 2 of the division series with Robertson, who had given a hit to load the bases, line drive to Teixeira. Another one to Teixeira, who came to the plate. And then a fly ball to Gardner. And just like that, the Yankees were out of trouble. Teixeira won the game with a lightning quick home run down the left field line. The Yankees went up 2-0 and swept that division series. And there is David Robertson. He has blossomed into a big weapon out of the bullpen for New York. Santana to Jeter, who shoots one into center. Hunter shifts his weight and goes back and makes the play. 2 out. No doubt Torrey Hunter is thinking about that missed opportunity in the bottom of the 10th. Had the bases loaded, 1 out. And bounced into a force out. Now Francisco Cervelli is going to come off the bench to hit. That'll be it for Rivera. So you know, Rivera 0 for 5 in his career. With a walk. Including the postseason. And on the day this year when he got his 500th save, he got his first and only RBI in the ball game. Cervelli comes off the bench and will have his first at bat. Two out, nobody on. Yankees also carry 3 catchers. Jose Molina still left on the bench. For Rivera, more magic. Ends up pitching a scoreless inning, and his career postseason ERA is 0.72 after that effort. And the breaking ball is over the head of Cervelli, ball 1. Strike on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball from Irvin Santana. Jose Molina this year missed time with a strained quad, and Cervelli really did a nice job getting work behind the plate. They've already started in Philadelphia in the bottom of the first there. Game 4 of the NLCS with the Phillies up 2-1. But we're glad you're with us in the 11th. And Cervelli down swinging to end the inning. Bottom of the 11th rolls in. Rivera, Morales, Kendrick coming up. Robertson coming in. Tied at 4. Jake Jolivet, Victor Gonzalez in the truck putting those pieces together. Our producer Pete Macheska, director Bill Webb, Jonathan Evans, technical director, Steve Horn, our editorial consultant in the booth. Many more helping to bring you this action from Southern California, and it is action-packed, intense decisions being made by managers. A lot of activity out of the bullpen, and the latest to come out for the Yankees is David Robertson. Bottom of the 11th. Tied at 4.
That's outside.
Fastball. Don't need me to tell you. But it missed. You heard where with a home plate umpire Bill Miller. To Juan Rivera, who is hitless 0 for 4. One ball, 1 strike. Good breaking ball. Tipped foul into the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rivera's bounced into a force out, fly to left, popped up, grounded out. The big bat of Kendry Morales on deck. The end of this one. The Angels will be either down 2-1 or 3-0. And up and in. Good pitch from Robertson. 2-2. Seves, the right-hander, getting loose. He and Chad Godin, the last 2 down there. Godin, the only one left in the bullpen in the heat in game 2. That one's chopped in the direction of Jeter. Gloves it, throws it, 1 away. Let's go for a game break and put Chris Rose to work. Chris.
All right, Joe, game 4 of the NLCS. Ryan Howard, his 6th career playoff homer. That a 2-run crank. And get this, his 8th consecutive playoff game with an RBI to tie a major league record. 2-zip Phils in the first. Joe, Tim, back to you.
All right, Chris. So last night, he hit a triple of all things in the first inning. And now tonight, how about that ball? Did that get out in a hurry?
Oh, man. Talk about a guy red hot in the postseason. Ryan Howard of the Phillies. Mercy.
Kenny Rosenthal referenced it earlier that is a Philadelphia team that seems to be able to put yesterday behind them very easily. They had that throwing error by Utley in game 2 of the NLCS in LA. Went home and just pounded on the Dodgers 11-0 last night, and they're out in front tonight. The defending world champs. Here is Kendry Morales, and another visit on the mound while we went to the game break. Go over the scouting report again for this big threat for the Angels. Strike one. Girardi's been busy. And obviously the conversation was to stay away from Kendry Morales.
Same conversation that Girardi had with Phil Hughes the last time they faced Morales, but a different pitcher, of course.
Two and one.
The only home run that Morales has in the postseason, an inside fastball from Josh Beckett. That was in game 2 of the LDS against the Red Sox.
Getting that outside corner, and the count's gone to 3-1 in what is now a 4-hour 13-minute game after a 5-hour 10-minute game Saturday night into early Sunday morning at Yankee Stadium. 3-1 pitch. Full count.
5 fastballs away to Morales. This one catches a corner.
Now Howie Kendrick on deck. Popped up, and that's Jerry Hairston Jr. finding it and putting it away. 2 down. Kendry Morales now the big threat in the lineup for the Angels. Is 0 for 5 in this game and 1 for 13 in this ALCS.
Joe, as you and I both know, I mean, it's really a roll of the dice when you sign a young pitcher. I mean, the Yankees signed David Robertson for $200,000. They signed Kei Agawa, a left-hander from Japan, for $46 million. Agawa's gone, and David Robertson is pitching in the postseason. It's a crapshoot.
Here's an interesting move, to say the least.
Yeah. 2
out, nobody on. Robertson faces 2 batters in this game, and he's gone. Aceves is coming on. Howie Kendrick is coming up. Interesting move by Joe Girardi. You have to believe it's matchup driven with Aceves about to work to Howie Kendrick. I mean, there's not a long history either way.
Both first-year pitchers you're dealing with, David Robertson and Aceves.
These two haven't faced one another, and yet after getting 2 outs, showing no signs of any issues, Robertson's out of the game in a 4-4 affair in the 11th, and it's from one right-hander to another. Against Robertson, Kendrick was 1 for 2 with a strikeout.
I don't understand it either.
The 2-0. 2-1. This was right before he went to the mound. He went over, checked his books, and looked at charts. The history is virtually non-existent. Here's a 2-1. Up and away, 3-1. On deck is Mathis. And now the Yankees are left with only Chad Godin in their bullpen. Right back up the middle and a base hit. Right off or just past the glove of Aceves. The winning run is on with 2 out here in the 11th.
Third hit of the day for Kendrick. Single, triple, home run. Kendrick had 11 stolen bases on the year. He's caught 4 times. And if there was ever a time to send the runner, it's right now.
Mathis has been good in the extra innings. An extra inning double on Saturday night, an extra inning double here in game 3 with a double leading off the 10th. That's what started the opportunity for the Angels, an opportunity they squandered. In case you're wondering, the Angels have never had a walk-off home run in their postseason history. 1 on, 2 down. Posada had the bad shoulder last year, had surgery. Figures to be tested by Kendrick. Ball 1 inside.
But now Aceves has fallen behind. The chance of a pitch out more remote.
I mean, just looking at the pitching stuff between the two pitchers, David Robertson seems to have better pitching stuff than Alfredo Aceves. I know he was good out of the bullpen, racked up 10 wins. Here's a shot into left center field. This ball is over the head of Hairston. Here comes Kendrick. Angels win game 3.
We talked about it, the decision of Joe Girardi to remove David Robertson and bring in Alfredo Aceves. 2 straight hits, 1 a single by Kendrick, and now a double by Jeff Mathis, his 3rd double in the last 2 nights.
And let's say this, the other decision we talked about earlier, which happened in the 10th, about pinch running for Jeff Mathis.
That's right.
Socha did not. Willett stayed on the bench. Mathis stayed in the lineup, and he wins the game in the 11th. Angels are back in this series. And we welcome you to the Chevy postgame show here on Fox. A final of 5-4 in the 11th and a high fastball. Mathis jumped all over it and almost took it out of the park. Kendrick scored, and the Angels are on the board in this series. Just belted by Jeff Mathis. Let's go down to the field and check in with Chris Myers.
All right, Joe, with Jeff Mathis, it's the noisiest it's been all day. Congratulations to beat the Yankees.
Thank you very much. You know, it's nice getting hit right there and driving the run across it and coming out with a W.
Jeff, after the pitching change, what was going through your mind, knowing the situation?
You know, just trying to get a pitch to hit, get a pitch up in the zone I could drive, and, you know, luckily I did.
In a game you had to have, the Yankees jumped down to the early lead. You had to claw back. Talk about the emotion on the bench, the up, the down, the emotion.
Yeah, it's been up and down the last couple of games. And, you know, luckily we came out on top in this one.
Has this proven you can obviously go not only toe-to-toe with the Yankees, but beat them?
Well, I mean, you know, we battled last 2 nights. You know, they got us the first time, we got them this time, and, you know, see what happens.
And what do you look forward to tomorrow?
Same kind of ball game.
All right, Scott Kazmir going. Congratulations, Jeff Mathis with the game-winning hit. Joe?
How about Mathis, who hit .211 this year and is a career 200 hitter in his big league life. 8 doubles. And he has been sensational in the extra innings the last 2 games. Today's play of the game brought to you by Ink, the new business card from Chase. Jeff Mathis certainly made his mark with a game-winning hit. Make your mark with Ink. Howie Kendrick all the way around from first with 2 out to end it in the 11th. Tonight on Fox, it's an all-new House, followed by an all-new Lie to Me. Coming your way next, except on the West Coast. And tomorrow night, I know you're going to tune in now. It's Game 4 of the ALCS. Our coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. It'll be a matchup of Scott Kazmir and CC Sabathia, who started and won Game 1. Promotional consideration paid for by the following. For more information on today's game and the latest in Major League Baseball news, log on to foxsports.com, powered by MSN, the world's favorite sports site. For Tim McCarver, Ken Rosenthal, and Chris Myers, I'm Joe Buck. So long from Anaheim. You've been watching Fox Sports, home for the ALCS and the World Series. We've got a series now. Yankees up 2-1. See you tomorrow.